Chapter 419. Boom. The Sky Devourer sword shone brightly, and a blazing radiance was awakened. It clashed with the halberd and instantly released a vast divine light that swept across the surroundings like a tidal wave. Although the sword spirit of the Sky Devourer sword had disappeared, it was still a peerless divine weapon in Ling Xiao's previous life. Its material was even more precious than the halberd, and it contained a peerless sword intent that could devour the heavens and earth. The Impermanence Ghost General's expression changed as he felt the halberd in his hand vibrating as though it was heavily injured. He instantly retreated a few dozen feet back. Ling Xiao also used this force to retreat. At the same time, he carried Ji Feishuan and left the battlefield. "Are you all right?" Ling Xiao looked at Ji Feishuan in his arms and smiled. At this moment, Ji Feishuan's face was very pale. Her face was covered by a veil, revealing her smooth skin and jade-like bones. Her eyes were especially bright as she looked at Ling Xiao with a peerless smile. "Isn't it because of you? Otherwise, how could I have ended up like this?" Ji Feishuan's light voice sounded with a hint of coquettishness, causing Ling Xiao's heart to skip a beat. He knew what Ji Feishuan was talking about. If it wasn't for Ling Xiao's Spirit Devourer pill, Ji Feishuan wouldn't have been so severely injured by the Impermanence Ghost General. "Hee, Your Majesty, I'll detoxify your poison now." Ling Xiao chuckled as a surge of heaven-devouring true qi rushed into Ji Feishuan's body and detoxified the poison of the Spirit Devourer pill in her dantian. The Spirit Devourer pill was formed by Ling Xiao's heaven-devouring true qi. It was extremely difficult for others to detoxify it, but it was very easy for Ling Xiao. Boom. Without the restriction of the spirit-engulfing pill's poison, a powerful aura was emitted from Ji Feishuan's body. The boundless heaven and earth essence was absorbed into her body. Ji Feishuan's face also began to turn rosy. "You're Ling Xiao? You're only in the heaven realm, and you're actually able to withstand my halberd. You're quite capable." The Impermanence Ghost General glared at Ling Xiao and said coldly. However, his heart wasn't as calm as he looked on the surface. A heaven realm cultivator was able to withstand his halberd. Such a person was considered one of the top peerless geniuses even in the War God continent. How could there be such a monster in the Baronate regions? "Who the hell are you? Since you dared to offend my Changsun sect, then all of you shall stay here today." Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably sharp as he spoke in a domineering manner. If Ghost General Wu Chang and the Ninth Saint were from the War God continent, then Ling Xiao thought of the Yellow Springs Rising Dragon formation in the Longevity Mystic realm, and the strange changes in the Underworld sect. Ling Xiao naturally did not have a good impression of them. Killing intent surged in his heart. "Brat, how dare you be so arrogant? This general wants to see what ability you have to make this general stay." The Impermanence Ghost General was so angry that he laughed, his eyes revealing a trace of coldness. Boom. The heavenly halberd paused in the air for a moment. Instantly, a powerful sound wave spread out towards the sky. The surrounding rocks and trees were turned into dust by the sound wave. "Where did this brat come from? You dare to show off in front of me?" Before Ling Xiao could make a move, the old goat had already stepped forward. Black light surged around the old goat's body like a black vortex, instantly swallowing the sound waves. The old goat was not satisfied after killing Hong Luo previously. Now that he saw an even stronger Impermanence Ghost General, the old goat was eager to give it a try. He could not let Ling Xiao steal all the limelight. Today's battle would let the world know the old goat's name, the heaven-devouring Great Emperor. "You are Ling Xiao?" The Ninth Saint stopped the enraged Impermanence Ghost General and slowly walked over from the void. He looked down at the clouds with an invisible air of arrogance. "I am Ling Xiao. You are the mastermind behind the 4 Sacred Grounds attack on the Changsun Mountain today, right?" Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he spoke indifferently. "That's right, it's me. A mere ant like the Changsun Mountain can be destroyed with a wave of my hand. However, I have changed my mind. As long as you give me your martial arts and the sword in your hand, as well as kneel down and submit to me, I can spare your life." The Ninth Saint said indifferently as he looked at the heaven-devouring sword with a hint of passion in his eyes. He thought of a certain legend, and when he saw the heaven-devouring supreme statue below, his heart was burning with passion. If the heaven-devouring sword in Ling Xiao's hand was really that legendary treasure, then it would be the ninth saint's greatest gain from this trip. Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment before a mocking smile appeared on his face. Who do you think you are? You want my martial arts and ancient sword? Are you worthy? This so-called ninth saint was really someone from the war god continent. He had sharp eyes and could tell that Ling Xiao's martial arts and heaven-devouring sword were extraordinary. How dare you? Ling Xiao, the ninth saint is a peerless prodigy of the war god continent. The power behind him is not something you can imagine. How dare you be so rude to the saint? Kneel down and accept your death. The Grand Elder of the Underworld sect shouted at Ling Xiao with a venomous look in his eyes. A peerless prodigy of the war god continent? Nangongxian and the others shuddered. Even the experts from the four great holy lands were shocked beyond belief. Legend had it that the war god continent was the center of this world, where experts and geniuses gathered. The strongest people in the 8 Desolation region were only those in the noble realm. On the war god continent, it was said that nobles were everywhere, and emperors were no better than dogs. Only the mighty supremes were the top experts of the war god continent. No wonder the ninth saint looked so young, and had such an unfathomable cultivation. He was a peerless prodigy of the war god continent. That can't be right. The 8 Desolation region and the war god continent are separated by the endless reincarnation ocean. It is said that there is no life in the reincarnation ocean. Why would someone from the war god continent come to our small 8 Desolation region? Some people were shocked and found it hard to believe. Boom. The ninth saint stood with his hands clasped behind his back, as if in agreement with the words of the supreme elder of the underworld sect. His body exuded an aura that seemed to dominate the world. It was vast and unparalleled. That overwhelming aura caused everyone's expression to change drastically. A noble realm expert. He's even stronger than the Grand Elders? Everyone's eyes were filled with incomparable reverence. To have such a cultivation at such a young age, he was definitely not someone the small 8 Desolation region could nurture. At this moment, the ninth saint stood in the air. His black hair fluttered in the wind. His figure was slender and handsome, and his face was devilishly handsome. It was as if he had become the center of the world. He carried an indescribable pride and spirit. Ling Xiao, your talent is extraordinary. If you are willing to hand over your martial arts and ancient sword and submit to me, I will bring you to the war god continent, and let you join the real sacred ground of martial arts. What do you think? Chapter 420. You should know that the holy land of martial arts on the war god continent isn't something that you self-proclaimed holy lands can compare to. What is a holy land of martial arts? Only with a supreme expert overseeing the world and establishing a 10,000-year-old orthodoxy could it be called a holy land of martial arts. A mere noble realm cultivator doesn't even have the right to start a sect on the war god continent. The ninth saint's words made the faces of the people from the 4 sacred grounds turn red. Compared to the war god continent, the 8 Desolates region was like a frog at the bottom of a well. Is the war god continent that great? Ling Xiao sneered. The 8 Desolates region was the center of this world 10,000 years ago. The Chongsun sect was the strongest holy land of martial arts in this world 10,000 years ago. Even the Supremes had to bow down to them. The Chongsun sect has inherited the legacy of our founder. We will rule the world one day. What's the power behind you? Can you compare to the Chongsun sect 10,000 years ago? If you can't, do you think you can make me submit? Ling Xiao's words made the ninth saint's face darken. Very well, Ling Xiao. Since you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, then I can only slaughter your Chongsun sect and tear you to pieces. I hope you won't kneel and beg for mercy later. The ninth saint's voice was extremely cold. Being scolded by Ling Xiao made him very angry. He felt that he had lost a lot of face, and in his anger, he had a strong desire to kill Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, what bullshit, ninth saint. So what if you're from the war god continent? Watch this emperor slaughter this little demon. The old goat couldn't hold it in anymore. He sneered and charged at the Impermanence Ghost General. Bastard, you're courting death. The Impermanence Ghost General's eyes turned cold. Although he was surprised that the old goat had killed Hong Luo, the Impermanence Ghost General was furious that the old goat had overestimated himself and wanted to provoke him. He swung his halberd at the old goat. Everyone charge. Today, I'll wipe out the Changsan sect. The ninth saint said with a cold expression. With the ninth saint's order, the grand elders of the underworld sect and Wansho sect, as well as the rest of the four holy lands, seemed to have gained some confidence. They roared and charged at the Changsan sect. Ling Xiao, since you're not convinced, I'll beat you until you're convinced. The ninth saint's eyes flashed coldly as he threw a punch at Ling Xiao. Crack. Black lightning flashed in the sky. The ninth saint's aura was violent, and a huge ancient tomb seemed to appear behind him. Endless death chi gushed out like a heavenly monument pressing down on Ling Yin. Kill. Ling Xiao's eyes also revealed a strong fighting spirit. The dragon's might around him spread, and he clenched his invincible fist and went up to meet the attack. Boom. Ling Xiao's fist was glowing with golden light. It was like an angry vajra. When it landed on the sky steel, it exploded with dazzling divine light and destroyed the sky steel. Emperor Tomb Fist. A cold voice sounded. The ninth saint's fist swept across the sky like the fist of a great emperor, as if it was going to destroy everything. It contained unparalleled divine might. Emperor Tomb Fist? As expected, they are from the Emperor Tomb Mountain Holy Land. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He had already guessed that the Yellow Springs Rising Dragon Formation was the sect-protecting formation of the Emperor Tomb Mountain. Now that he saw the ninth saint use the Emperor Tomb Fist, he naturally understood the ninth saint's identity. The Emperor Tomb Mountain's sect-guarding martial art was the Emperor Tomb Supreme Sutra. Legend has it that when cultivated to the peak, one would have a trace of the ancient emperor's strength. It could destroy heaven and earth. And its might was unparalleled. Emperor Tomb Mountain dares to covet the Eight Desolates region? Damn it! The murderous intent in Ling Xiao's eyes burned fiercely as his blood boiled. The power of the body of the flying dragon exploded. Ling Xiao punched out like a dragon, shrouded in golden lightning as he fought with the ninth saint. The ninth saint looked like he had just entered the noble plane, but he had cultivated the Emperor's Tomb Supreme Sutra, so his strength was unparalleled. He was far from what the supreme elders of the four sacred grounds could compare to. The Emperor's Tomb Fist was incomparably murderous. It was like an eternal Emperor's tomb in the primordial chaos, wanting to bury all living things. Rumble. Ling Xiao and the ninth saint exchanged dozens of punches in an instant. Unparalleled wind swept across the void. They were actually evenly matched. How is this possible? Could he have really obtained the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme? The ninth saint's heart was in turmoil. He was incomparably shocked. At the same time, he was even more convinced that Ling Xiao might have obtained the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme. Otherwise, how could a mere celestial being be a match for the ninth holy sun? One had to know that although the supreme elder of the underworld sect's cultivation was a few levels higher than the ninth saint, he couldn't even last 3 moves in the ninth saint's hands. This made the ninth holy sun even more certain of his thoughts. As long as he killed Ling Xiao and obtained his inheritance, his status in the Emperor Tomb Mountain would definitely rise greatly. Emperor Tomb Fist, Emperor Annihilation 8 Desolates. The ninth saint roared, and the black divine light around him boiled. He punched out, and it was as vast as the sea. He was like a great emperor who looked down on the 9 heavens and 10 lands. He stepped out and charged towards Ling Xiao. This punch was incomparably vast, causing the surrounding mountains to tremble and the sky to shake. The Paragon martial arts allowed one to possess an invincible and peerless killing power right from the start. Although Ling Xiao's sky-devouring secret skill and ancestral dragon secret skill were not inferior to the sovereign martial arts when they were cultivated to the peak, and might even be stronger than them, they were not killing unique skills. Hence, they did not look as powerful as the sovereign martial arts. 4 Elephants Sky Striking Style. Ling Xiao shouted coldly. The 7 Limits divine art of devouring heaven and earth was created by Ling Xiao in his previous life. It was extremely powerful, and was also the strongest killing technique that Ling Xiao had. Rumble. The 4 elephants' divine light shot up into the sky. The forces of earth, water, wind, and fire intertwined as if they were going to recreate the primordial chaos. In an instant, they enveloped the great emperor. The blazing fist radiance swept across, shattering the surrounding mountains and shaking the heavens and earth. However, the Longevity Mountain wasn't affected at all. Traces of mysterious runes flowed out and protected the Longevity Mountain. Ling Xiao and the Ninth Saint were like two ferocious beasts that could destroy the heavens and earth. They rampaged through the void and clashed fiercely. In the end, the four elephants' divine light destroyed the great emperor's shadow. Like a dazzling sword chi, it cut across the sky and slashed towards the Ninth Saint. Emperor's tomb fist, heaven and earth mourn. The Ninth Saint's eyes were gloomy and filled with burning greed. The stronger Ling Xiao was, the more he coveted the martial arts that Ling Xiao cultivated. Bang! It was as if an immemorial divine mountain had exploded. The Ninth Saint's fist was unparalleled. The blazing divine light caused the heavens to shake violently. The unparalleled fist print blasted towards Ling Xiao, accompanied by the heavens and earth mourning, and the mysterious phenomenon of a rain of blood. The Ninth Saint's fist seemed to have shattered the heavens and earth, causing the heavens and earth to weep in sorrow. Chapter 421. While Ling Xiao and the Ninth Saint were fighting, the Impermanence Ghost General and the Old Goat were also fighting. The Impermanence Ghost General held the heavenly halberd in his hand and looked like a ghost king from hell. Death Chi surrounded him, and every strike of the halberd was like a landslide. On the other hand, the Old Goat was very wretched. He relied on the extreme speed of his teleportation technique to shuttle between the halberd shadows and give the Impermanence Ghost General a kick from time to time. The Old Goat didn't attack, but once he did, it was like a thunderbolt. His hooves were like an ancient mountain that suppressed everything and contained boundless power. The Impermanence Ghost General's head and chest were kicked a few times by the Old Goat, causing him to see stars and feel suffocated in his chest. He was so angry that he cried out, "Bastard, fight me for 300 rounds if you dare. What's the point of sneak attacking me?" The Impermanence Ghost General roared and controlled the power of heaven and earth to attack the Old Goat. Buzz! The Old Goat's body shone brightly, and there seemed to be a hole behind him that was spewing out divine light. It swallowed the Impermanence Ghost General's power of heaven and earth. "Brat, you can't even catch up with me and you still want to fight me? You overestimate yourself." The Old Goat sneered and dodged the Impermanence Ghost General's sky-piercer halberd. A small mountain below was shattered by the halberd's shadow. The Old Goat moved like a ghost and circled behind the Impermanence Ghost General before stomping on his head. Bang! As if he was hit by a star, the Impermanence Ghost General's vision turned black. He staggered and almost fell from the sky. I'm going to kill you, bastard." The Impermanence Ghost General was so angry that his eyes were spitting fire. He hated the Old Goat to the extreme. He exploded with the combat strength of a noble and charged at the Old Goat. The Supreme Elders of the Underworld sect and the Wanshou sect wanted to attack the people of the Chongsun sect, but they were stopped by Ji Feishuan and the Supreme Elder of the Jade Lake sect. The four of them also started an intense battle in the sky. Boom! The most violent battle was at the top of the Chongsun Mountain. Without the restraint of the heavenly measuring rope, the sky-devouring supreme statue started a massacre like a dragon in the sea. Although there were many experts from the four great holy grounds, they were no match for the heaven-devouring supreme statue. They were slaughtered like leaves being swept away by a gust of wind. Nangong Xian, on the other hand, was not idling around. Although the great array of longevity and God Seal had been broken, its foundation was still there. Additionally, using the Epiphany tree as the array core, he was able to recondense out the divine lightning of purple sky firmaments and longevity sword energy, allowing him to roam the Longevity Mountain unhindered. Controlling the Grand Longevity God Seal array, Nangong Xian began slaughtering the experts from the four great sects. Bang! The sky-devouring supreme divine statue punched out like a dragon. Blazing light swept out in all directions, instantly blasting several celestial realm experts into a bloody mist. Crack! The purple heaven godly thunder fell from the sky, and a terrifying light swept out in all directions, engulfing a few strong cultivators of the Wanshou sect and turning them into ashes. The longevity sword beam was boundless and unparalleled. It contained a power capable of destroying everything. It cut several of the Netherworld sect's disciples, who were shrouded in ghastly energy, into a cloud of blood. the battle became even more intense. The battle between Ling Xiao and the Ninth Holy Sun shook everyone the most. Both of them had supreme-level martial arts. When they used them, they swept up the power of heaven and earth and stirred up the clouds. It was as if two peerless supremes were fighting. Ling Xiao and the Ninth Holy Sun exchanged hundreds of blows. Under Ling Xiao's control, the 4 Elephants Sky Striking style, 5 Elements Sky Sealing style, and 6 Paths of Reincarnation style exploded with destructive power. The Ninth Holy Sun's Emperor's Tomb Fist was also very powerful. Coupled with his noble plane cultivation, he was actually on par with Ling Xiao. Kill. After another fierce collision, Ling Xiao took the opportunity to use a secret teleportation technique. He pierced through the layers of divine light and punched toward the Ninth Holy Sun. Ling Xiao's strongest point was still his physical strength. Although the Ninth Holy Sun had cultivated the Emperor's Tomb Fist, his physical strength was still much weaker than Ling Xiao's. Sensing the unparalleled divine power in Ling Xiao's punch, the Ninth Holy Sun did not dare to underestimate his opponent. Bright runes spread out from his hand. It was a bronze armor that blocked Ling Xiao's attack. Clang! Sparks flew everywhere. The bronze armor blocked Ling Xiao's punch. At the same time, a black gold battle saber appeared in the Ninth Holy Sun's hand. It emitted an unparalleled sharpness and slashed toward Ling Xiao's neck. Ling Xiao pointed his finger like a sword and tapped on the black gold battle saber. Bright runes exploded, and the battle saber hummed. At the same time, his other hand formed a fist seal and punched straight into the Ninth Holy Sun's chest. Boom! Ling Xiao's punch exploded with the power of the flying dragon body. It was like the attack of an immemorial divine beast. The Ninth Holy Sun's black robe was a powerful defensive Dao artifact. Black light rose and blocked Ling Xiao's punch. However, a portion of that unparalleled power still entered the Ninth Holy Sun's body, causing his internal organs to churn. He could not help but turn pale, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Ling Xiao, you deserve to die. The Ninth Holy Sun was furious. He was the Holy Son of the Emperor's Tomb Mountain. He was also a peerless prodigy in the War God continent. He looked down on everyone, and the Emperor's Tomb Fist was renowned throughout the world. Now he was injured by Ling Xiao. Boom! A terrifying power exploded from the Ninth Holy Sun's body. It was like the power of a volcano erupting. Dark clouds rolled in the sky, and a huge tomb seemed to appear behind the Ninth Saint. Black light shrouded the sky, and there was a horrifying figure above the tomb. The eyes of the figure suddenly opened, and 2 blazing beams of divine light pierced through the sky and shot toward Ling Xiao. It was too fast. It was like blazing lightning that contained the power to pierce through everything. It arrived in front of Ling Xiao in an instant. This was the Ninth Holy Sun's killer move. He felt humiliated after being injured by Ling Xiao. He immediately went berserk. These 2 beams of divine light made Ling Xiao feel the threat of death. At the critical moment, Ling Xiao did not even think. The heaven-devouring sword instantly blocked the 2 divine lights. Clang! The heaven-devouring sword trembled violently. A terrifying divine light exploded, and an unparalleled divine power erupted. It instantly pushed Ling Xiao back dozens of feet. Ling Xiao's arms were numb, and his internal organs were in turmoil. His eyes revealed an extremely grave expression. The Ninth Holy Sun's attack had the power to kill a noble realm cultivator instantly. It had almost surpassed the limit of the noble realm. What? The Ninth Holy Sun was also stunned. He had paid a great price for this attack, but Ling Xiao was not killed instantly? Is it that ancient sword? Is it really that legendary treasure? The Ninth Holy Sun was shocked. The greed in his eyes was even more intense. Kill! However, Ling Xiao did not give him a chance to react. After using this attack, the Ninth Holy Sun was obviously weaker. This was the best opportunity to kill him. Roar! A shocking dragon roar sounded. Ling Xiao flew through the sky at extreme speed. The blood qi around him surged and turned into a golden dragon. It suddenly pressed down on the Ninth Holy Sun. Chapter 422. Boom! The Ninth Saint's body trembled, and the countless runes on the bronze armguard exploded. It had actually been shattered by Ling Xiao's punch. The unparalleled force landed on the Ninth Saint's arm. instantly causing the blood vessels on his arm to burst. It looked like a bloody mess, and it was extremely miserable. If not for the bronze arm guard, the ninth saint's arm would have been crippled. Swoosh. Ling Zhao's eyes were cold as he instantly grabbed the ninth saint's arm and kicked the ninth saint's chest. Boom. Although the black robe blocked most of the force, Ling Zhao's kick was extremely terrifying. It was like a human-shaped dragon, instantly causing the ninth saint's chest to feel stuffy. His body involuntarily flew into the sky. Ling Zhao's speed was extremely fast. He was like a flash of light as he followed up and ruthlessly punched the ninth saint's face. Boom. The ninth saint's teeth were all broken, and they flew out mixed with blood. His handsome face was distorted by Ling Zhao's punch. The ninth saint was ruthlessly smashed into a mountain peak in the distance. Instantly, the mountain shook, and a huge human-shaped hole appeared on the mountain peak. Everyone couldn't help but gasp. That was simply too violent. Ling Zhao's aura surged into the sky like a true dragon, directly shattering the dark clouds. That terrifying physical strength made everyone's scalp tingle. I'm going to kill you. The ninth saint was so angry that he almost fainted. He couldn't speak clearly, and his eyes were filled with rage. He only had one thought at that moment, and that was to kill Ling Zhao. Great divine light of destruction, destroy him for me. The ninth saint roared. His glabella suddenly split open, and endless black light surged, emitting an aura that made one's heart palpitate. Swoosh. A vast divine light shot out from the ninth saint's glabella. It was like an eternally indestructible Milky Way, containing a mysterious, domineering, and ancient power. It was as if heaven and earth had stopped under this light. It's actually the great divine light of destruction? To be able to force the ninth saint to use the great divine light of destruction. Ling Zhao is definitely dead. The Impermanence Ghost General's eyes also trembled, revealing a trace of horror. He did not expect Ling Zhao to be able to force the ninth saint to such an extent. The divine light of destruction was a power bestowed by the Lord of the Emperor Tomb Mountain. Every saint had a great divine light of destruction that was specifically targeted at the primordial spirit. It could instantly kill the primordial spirit of an emperor, and was extremely powerful. Not to mention Ling Zhao, even if an emperor was here, his soul would instantly disperse. This was the ninth saint's most powerful move. If Ling Zhao's strength had not exceeded the ninth saint's son's imagination, he would not have used the great divine light of destruction to kill Ling Zhao. Wang. In the void, the divine light stretched for thousands of miles. It was resplendent like a rainbow, stunning the world. In an instant, it shot into Ling Zhao's forehead. Facing the great annihilation divine light, Ling Zhao did not have the slightest leeway to resist. Ling Zhao is dead? Ahaha. The experts from the 4 great holy lands were originally wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. When they saw this scene, their eyes were filled with incomparable excitement as they laughed heartily. On the other hand, Nangong Xian and the others' expressions changed drastically. Their eyes were filled with incomparable worry. That terrifying great divine light of destruction made everyone feel as though their souls were being destroyed when they saw it. The depths of their souls were trembling incessantly. How was Ling Zhao going to block such a peerless attack? Bang! Taking advantage of the moment when the Impermanence Ghost General was distracted, the old goat circled behind the Impermanence Ghost General and directly kicked his head. This attack seemed to be able to shatter a sacred mountain, causing the Impermanence Ghost General to stagger as his head turned black. At the same time, a 3-legged, 2-eared golden cauldron rose behind the old goat. It emitted dazzling golden flames and instantly sucked the Impermanence Ghost General in. Endless flames spread out and began to refine the Impermanence Ghost General. What bullshit, great divine light of destruction. You want to kill Ling Zhao? What wishful thinking. I don't have time to play with you anymore. I'll refine you first. The old goat sneered, not worried at all. Although the great divine light of destruction was very powerful, Ling Zhao had the wordless heavenly book to protect him. He was the least afraid of primordial spirit attacks. How dare you sneak attack me, you vile creature? I'm going to rip you to shreds to vent my anger. The Impermanence Ghost General howled as he unleashed a barrage of attacks on the 3-legged, 2-eared cauldron. That's all you've got? Yang Qi said. You don't even know how to curse people. You want to escape from my Heaven Devourer cauldron? You're delusional. Chuckling coldly, the old goat tapped the cauldron with his hooves, causing it to shine with dazzling golden light and a mysterious power to erupt. Intense flames erupted as the impermanence ghost general was being refined. In Ling Zhao's sea of consciousness, the great destructive divine light pierced through everything and shot directly at Ling Zhao's golden primordial spirit. It contained a terrifying power. However, the wordless heavenly book unleashed a mysterious, boundless light that wrapped around the great divine light of destruction and caused it to vanish. What a terrifying great divine light of destruction! If I didn't have the wordless heavenly book, I really would have failed miserably. Ling Zhao chuckled bitterly. The great divine light of destruction had been bolstered by a paragon, and not even the nascent divinity of an emperor would have been able to withstand it. Thankfully, he had the wordless heavenly book to protect his nascent divinity golden clone. Rumble. When the ninth holy sun saw Ling Zhao's forehead being pierced by the great divine light of destruction, a cold smile appeared on his face. Knowing that Ling Zhao was dead beyond the shadow of a doubt, he shot forward to grab the Heaven Devourer sword. After all, this was the legendary sword of Paragon Heaven Devourer, and contained boundless power. Perhaps Ling Zhao's legacy had come from this very sword. You want the Heaven Devourer sword? A cold voice rang out, causing the ninth holy sun to tremble, and a look of disbelief in his eyes. He abruptly raised his head, just in time to see the cold light shooting out from Ling Zhao's eyes. How did you dash? The ninth holy sun's expression changed drastically, but before he could finish his sentence, a divine rainbow flashed by, and his head was instantly sent flying by the Heaven Devourer sword. The ninth holy sun's eyes were filled with disbelief and indignation, and he instantly lost his spirit. I want to see what the Emperor Tomb Mountain is trying to do. Ling Zhao's eyes flickered coldly, and a golden light shot out from the Heaven Devourer golden lotus, grabbing toward the ninth holy sun's nascent divinity. However, a bright rune flickered within the ninth holy sun's nascent divinity, and it exploded with a loud bang. Did they set up a restriction in the primordial spirit? How ruthless of the Emperor Tomb Mountain. They won't even let their own people off. Ling Zhao muttered to himself as he grabbed the ninth holy sun's storage ring and the black robe he was wearing. There should be some clues in the ninth holy sun's storage ring, and the black robe was also a powerful defensive Dao artifact. After the ninth holy sun died, it also became an ownerless item. Chapter 423. You killed the ninth holy sun. That's impossible. Ghost General Anika howled from within the Heaven Devourer cauldron, his voice trembling with disbelief. The grand extermination godlight was so powerful that not even emperors could survive it. But Ling Zhao had evaded it, and even killed the ninth holy sun. That was completely beyond Ghost General Anika's wildest imaginations. You're still in the mood to care about others? Heh. Alright, I'll send you to meet that dog's hit ninth holy sun right now. The old goat's eyes flashed, and he chuckled darkly. The Heaven Devourer cauldron began to glow with dazzling golden flames, and mysterious magical symbols that began to refine Ghost General Anika. I refuse to accept this. You shameless bastards. Emperor Tomb Mountain won't let you get away with this. Ghost General Anika howled, but he couldn't break free from the Heaven Devourer cauldron. Before long, he went completely silent as the old goat refined him. When the prime elders from the underworld house and the house of myriad beasts saw that the ninth holy sun and Ghost General Anika were dead, they were so frightened that their souls almost left their bodies. Where do you think you're going? Ling Zhao said, his eyes flashing coldly. His Heaven Devourer sword shone with dazzling light, and he slashed down like a beam of light, inundating the prime elders from the underworld house. A miserable shriek rang out as the prime elder from the underworld house was cut down. As for the prime elder from the house of myriad beasts, he died at the hands of Ji Feishuan. In the end, the 4 prime elders from the 4 holy lands who had besieged the Live Forever mountain were all killed, and the other experts who had come with such ferocity were all killed by the Heaven Devourer Paragon. Not a single person escaped. At the peak of Live Forever mountain, the dark clouds dispersed, and golden sunlight shone down. Severed limbs and flesh were everywhere, making it look like a scene straight out of hell. The peak of Live Forever mountain was stained red with blood, and under the sunlight, It shone with a demonic light that would cause anyone who looked at it to tremble in fear. The stench of blood filled the air, and the disciples of the Live Forever house looked as if they had just survived a calamity, especially when they saw the blood of the 4 grand elders and the 9th saint and impermanence ghost general being killed by Ling Xiao and the old goat. Their eyes were filled with excitement. As long as the Holy Sun doesn't die, he will live forever, someone shouted. Following that, all the longevity sect disciples started to cheer. Their voices shook the clouds. Fellow elders, junior brothers, and junior sisters, the experts from the 4 great holy lands who came to invade us today have all been killed. Everyone recuperate well. Tomorrow, follow me and kill our way into the 4 great holy lands. The Sun Moon Star sect, Myriad Beast sect, Netherworld sect, and Terminator Demon sect should be removed from the list. Ling Xiao looked at the many disciples of Longevity Mountain with a gratified look in his eyes. Facing the experts of the 4 great sacred lands, even though they knew that they were no match for them, none of the disciples ran away. They were all willing to fight for the Longevity Gate. Ling Xiao believed that with these disciples, after this battle, the Chongsun sect would quickly rise up and become the new holy land of martial arts in the 8 Desolates region. This was also the first step of the Chongsun sect's rise. Attack the 4 great holy lands. Kill. 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 Looking at Ling Xiao's figure in the sky, the disciples and elders of the Chongsun sect shouted fanatically. Under Nangong Xian's command, the elders and disciples of the Chongsun sect started to clean up the experts of the 4 great holy lands. The weapons and treasures in their storage rings could be used as cultivation resources for the disciples of the Chongsun sect. Ling Xiao came to Ji Feishuan and smiled. Your Majesty, it has been a long time since we last met. This time, we have to thank Your Majesty for your help. Otherwise, the Longevity sect would have suffered heavy casualties. Ling Xiao was grateful to Ji Feishuan. Whether it was in the Chongsun secret land, or when the 4 great holy lands besieged Longevity Mountain, Ji Feishuan had stood by his side without hesitation. Without Jade Lake sect's help, the consequences would have been unimaginable. You're welcome. Without us, you wouldn't be afraid of the experts of the 4 great holy lands, with your current combat strength. Ji Feishuan said flatly with a tinge of emotion in her eyes. In the blink of an eye, the young man in the fearsome Beast Mountain range had the power to make the entire 8 Desolates region tremble. But you have to be careful. The 9th Holy Sun and Impermanence Ghost General died in your hands. I'm afraid the forces behind them won't let this matter rest. Ling Xiao smiled with a tinge of sharpness in his eyes. Let's not talk about whether the God of War continent can cross the reincarnation ocean. Even if they come, what can they do? You'd better be careful. Although you're strong now, they have sovereigns and even supremes behind them. Any one of them will be a huge threat. Ji Feishuan rolled her eyes. Thanks for the reminder. I'll be careful. I'm going to attack the 4 great holy lands tomorrow. Is the Jade Lake sect interested in getting a share of the loot? Ling Xiao smiled and changed the topic. Before Ji Feishuan could say anything, the supreme elder of the Jade Lake sect's eyes lit up. With Ling Xiao's terrifying combat strength, the remaining people of the 4 great holy lands would not be able to resist him. When the 4 great holy lands were destroyed, wouldn't the Jade Lake sect rule the 8 Desolates region? More importantly, the 4 great holy lands had a huge amount of resources in their hands. Thank you, young Master Ling. Tomorrow, the Jade Lake sect will definitely send people to cheer for you. The supreme elder of the Jade Lake sect smiled. He knew that Ling Xiao wanted to return the favor and let the Jade Lake sect have a share of the loot. If you have time, you can come to the Jade Lake sect to look for me. In the end, the people of the Jade Lake sect bid farewell and left the Longevity Mountain. Ji Feishuan looked at Ling Xiao with sparkling eyes and left after saying those words. Could it be that the great Xian Empress has taken a liking to me? Ling Xiao stroked his chin with a narcissistic expression. Ling Xiao, don't you dare flirt with other women. If you dare to do anything to hurt Jinsei, I won't forgive you. The old goat appeared beside Ling Xiao out of nowhere and glared at him. The old goat was arrogant and unruly in his previous life. Other than Ling Xiao, he had a good relationship with Jinsei. Therefore, he stood on Jinsei's side without hesitation. Bastard, what are you thinking? Ling Xiao seemed to have been seen through by the old goat, and said angrily, "Do you think I don't know you? TSK, if you don't want me to tell on you to Jin say, it's very simple. I want 80% of the treasures on you." The old goat looked at Ling Xiao with disdain, and finally revealed his true motive. "What treasures? I don't know." Ling Xiao pretended to be ignorant. "Those great noble realm elders, especially the ninth saint, must have a lot of treasures on them. Quickly take them out and split the loot." The old goat licked his face and urged, "No, these are my spoils of war." Ling Xiao was vigilant. "If you don't give, I'll bite you to death." The old goat's eyes flashed fiercely and rushed towards Ling Xiao. "Bastard, don't bite my hand. Let go, let go." Chapter 424. After the battle, the Changshan mountain was filled with joy and sorrow, but it was filled with vitality and cohesion. Ling Xiao comforted the disciples of the Changshan sect and cheered them up. The moon goddess and the phoenix maiden seemed determined to follow Ling Xiao and stayed in the Changshan sect for the time being. In the end, Ling Xiao and the old goat secretly closed the door of the Jin's pavilion and began to count their gains. Overall, Ling Xiao and the old goat had killed the Yin Yang Lord, the Nirvana Lord, the Lord of the Underworld, the Black Dragon King, and the 8 Supreme Elders. Including the Ninth Saint and the Impermanence Ghost General, there were 14 Noble Realm cultivators in total. Ling Xiao didn't care about the other cultivators below the Noble Realm, so he left them all to Nangong Xian. All the storage treasures of the 14 Noble Realm cultivators were in Ling Xiao's hands, especially the Impermanence Ghost General's storage treasure, and the Sky Piercer halberd. The old goat reluctantly handed them over under Ling Xiao's coercion. Other than that, there were also many treasures from the Changshan secret territory that the 4 sacred lands had plundered. Ling Xiao and the old goat were mentally prepared, but they still gasped when they saw the treasures in the storage treasures. Their eyes shone brightly. "We're rich. We're really rich now." Even with Ling Xiao's supreme state of mind, he was still very excited when he saw so many treasures. The old goat's eyes shone and his saliva almost flowed out. Among these storage magic treasures, the light of treasures was sparkling, and the spiritual energy was overwhelming. Spirit pills, spirit herbs, divine weapons, and powerful martial arts were all there. After tallying all the spiritual stones and spirit crystals, Zhang Xian had a total of 25 billion pinnacle spiritual stones, and 130 million spirit crystals. There were more than 820,000 spiritual medicines. Although most of them were below the supreme spiritual medicine level, there were more than 130 king-level spiritual medicines. There were more than 320,000 spiritual pills, and 3,000 treasure-level spiritual medicines. There were also more than 80 supreme spiritual pills. They were extremely precious. There were more than 80,000 spiritual weapons and 4,000 treasure-level weapons. There were even 321 Dao weapons. Most of them were low-grade and middle-grade Dao weapons. There were 18 superior-grade Dao weapons. What excited Ling Xiao the most was the martial arts heritage. There were more than 30,000 martial arts below heaven level, and more than 100 heaven level martial arts. Among them, there was no lack of martial arts from the 4 great holy lands, such as the Azure Dragon True Art, Nirvana True Art, Netherworld True Art, and so on. Of course, the highest level martial arts techniques were only of the middle grade. After all, the 8 Desolation region had many high-level martial arts techniques that had been lost. There. Apart from that, there were also large amounts of natural treasures and precious ores. In particular, he found 3 divine sunstones and a bottle of divine Yin water in the storage treasure of the Yin Yang King. These were all supreme treasures. With such a large amount of resources, although Ling Xiao did not care for most of them, it was enough to make the longevity sect the holy land of the 8 Desolates region. With sect with the heavens with the heavens with the heavens. Ling Xiao looked forward to the 9th Holy Sun and the Impermanence Ghost General's storage treasures. The 9th Holy Sun's black robe was called the Black Dragon Robe. It was the same as the Impermanence Ghost General's halberd. They were both supreme-grade Dao weapons. In addition, they also found many precious Dao artifacts in their storage Dharma treasures. This is pure Yang Pill? The old goat's eyes flashed with a hint of excitement. Among the storage treasures of the Ninth Saint and the Impermanence Ghost General, there were more than 3,000 snow-white pills the size of a longan fruit. They emitted connate pure yang qi, which made one's soul feel like it was floating in the air. The pure yang pill is a treasure of an even higher grade than spirit crystals. It's a supreme treasure condensed from space by a monarch realm expert using the energy of their soul core. Supposedly, a monarch realm expert would need an entire month to condense a single pure yang pill without rest. The pure yang pill is the currency of the war god continent. One pure yang pill can be exchanged for millions of spiritual crystals. It could be said that these pure yang pills were much more precious than spiritual stones and crystals. With these pure yang pills, it's enough to raise my cultivation to the peak of the sky human realm. Ling Xiao was also quite excited. Now, the use of spiritual crystals was almost negligible to him. These are soul morning nails? So these are the real soul morning nails. It seems like the soul morning nails I obtained before were all fake. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered, and he opened a jade box that the Ninth Saint had sealed. There were 28 soul morning nails inside. They sparkled with starlight and contained traces of ancient intent. There was a sharpness that could destroy one's soul. Compared to these 28 soul morning nails, the soul morning nails that Ling Xiao had obtained before were obviously fake. The Emperor Tomb Mountain is the holy land of the Ghost Dao. Legend has it that there are 360 soul morning nails in the Emperor Tomb Mountain. Together, they form a supreme weapon. The ninth holy son actually brought 28 soul morning nails. It seems like he's planning something big. The old goat's eyes flashed as he said slowly. The underworld sect should be their chess piece. They didn't hesitate to destroy the dragon veins of the 4 ancient countries, and even wanted to release the extraterritorial demons in the longevity mystic realm. What benefits would that bring them? Ling Xiao was also very confused. It seemed like releasing the extraterritorial demons from the Emperor Tomb Mountain would only cause the 8 Desolates region to be plunged into misery and suffering. It didn't bring any benefits to the Emperor Tomb Mountain at all. If the Emperor Tomb Mountain was planning to obtain the longevity sect's inheritance, they wouldn't release the extraterritorial demons. Therefore, Ling Xiao couldn't understand their actions. Or, the Emperor Tomb Mountain has already been occupied by the extraterritorial demons? The old goat's imagination ran wild as he said slowly. That's possible, but I still feel that something is wrong. What is this? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He saw a pitch-black bone in the ninth holy sun's storage treasure. It emitted a soul-stirring light that made people shudder. Ling Xiao picked up the black bone. It looked like it was the size of a fist, and was very hard. Even the true devouring fire couldn't burn it. However, the wordless heavenly book in Ling Xiao's mind emitted a wave of desire and joy. Could this black bone also be left behind by the extraterritorial demons? Ling Xiao's eyes turned cold. The wordless heavenly book emitted a ray of golden light, and slowly rolled towards the black bone. Buzz! At that moment, the black bone suddenly emitted a bright light. An evil, ancient and terrifying aura exploded. It actually started to fight with the wordless heavenly book. The wordless heavenly book seemed to be enraged. It flew out from Ling Xiao's mind and started to suppress the black bone. The golden light and black light surged. The two of them were evenly matched. In the end, they both returned to silence. The wordless heavenly book flew back into Ling Xiao's mind again. The black bone also lost its light and landed in Ling Xiao's hand again. This black bone is ominous. Chapter 425. Ling Xiao's gaze was solemn. This was the first time he encountered something that even the wordless heavenly book could not deal with. The black bone's aura was terrifying. When it exploded, it was like a demon descending to the world. It was domineering and mysterious. Is this a person? After the black bone clashed with the wordless heavenly book, it regained its calmness. However, some patterns appeared on it, and it looked like the back of a person. When one looked at the back of the person, they would feel as if they had fallen into an endless darkness. Even their primordial spirit would fall into the Tao of demons. Ling Xiao, this black bone is too strange. Why don't we throw it away? The old goat was also a little scared. He stared at the black bone for a moment. Then his entire body trembled as if he had seen a ghost. This black bone is very unusual. Perhaps the plot to find the Emperor Tomb Mountain lies within this black bone. Ling Xiao carefully put away the black bones. Although the black bones looked very strange, Ling Xiao didn't feel any threat from them. Instead, Ling Xiao could faintly feel that this black bone was very important to him. After counting the loot, the old goat happily picked out some treasures that could heal Dao injuries. He did not care about the rest. Ling Xiao also left some spiritual crystals and a few powerful Dao weapons. He kept the rest and prepared to hand them over to Nangongxian. With such a large amount of resources, the Changsun sect would definitely rise rapidly. Just as the battle of the Changsun sect came to an end, in the endless mountains in the south, a young man in golden robes with an extraordinary aura rode on a white elephant and galloped towards the south. Second Master, why do we have to leave the Eight Desolates region? That bastard Ling Xiao killed Big Brother. I want to avenge him. The young man in golden robes was Zhao Ritian. At this moment, his eyes were bloodshot and filled with anger. In the Changsun secret territory, the lords of Yinyang died in the hands of Ling Xiao. As for the sun god, he was torn to pieces by those terrifying extraterrestrial demons. Zhao Ritian blamed Ling Xiao for the death of the sun god. If we stay in the Eight Desolates region, you have no hope of killing Ling Xiao. That kid is not simple. I suspect that he might be the reincarnation of an almighty. Second Master said helplessly. The reincarnation of an almighty? How is that possible? How can that bastard Ling Xiao do that? Second Master, where else can we go if we leave the Eight Desolates region? Zhao Ritian's eyes were filled with disbelief. Soon after, he became a little confused. To the War God continent, of course. The Eight Desolates region has been quiet for tens of thousands of years, and is no longer the center of the world. Only when you go to the War God continent can your holy sun physique quickly awaken. At that time, you will enter the holy land of the sun and cultivate to the supremacy realm. If you want to kill Ling Xiao, won't it be easy? Second uncle's voice was full of bewitchment. War God continent? But I heard that the War God continent and the Eight Desolates region are separated by the endless reincarnation ocean. How are we going to cross the reincarnation ocean? Zhao Ritian was a little tempted. However, he still spoke hesitantly. Don't worry. Listen to me. I promise you that you will reach the War God continent safely. With your holy body of the sun, you will definitely become the holy sun of the holy land of the sun. When your cultivation is strong enough, it will be easy for you to kill Ling Xiao, said second uncle. All right. Zhao Ritian's eyes were filled with vigor. He said in high spirits. I will listen to you. War God continent, I Zhao Ritian am coming. Roar. As if it could sense Zhao Ritian's excitement, Bai Xiang let out a roar and ran towards the south with all four limbs. There was an endless ocean. Behind the ocean was the vast War God continent. It was Zhao Ritian's new journey. Who knew how many billions of miles away from the Eight Desolates region? A black divine mountain stood at the peak of the sky. The surroundings were filled with ghostly qi and chaotic qi. The divine mountain was like a huge ancient tomb. It emitted a vast and ancient aura. This was the Emperor Tomb Mountain, one of the holy land of the War God continent with the longest history. Dijiu is already dead. It seems like the plan in the Eight Desolates region has failed. However, the Emperor Bone cannot be lost. No matter who killed Dijiu, you will have to pay the price. An old and majestic voice came from the divine mountain. It emitted an aura that shook the Eight Desolates region. The surrounding sky trembled. The primal chaos mist boiled. Countless powerful figures flew towards the Emperor Tomb Mountain. When Ling Xiao handed over most of the treasures to Nangongxian was stunned. Nangongxian had never seen so many treasures before. Spiritual pills, spiritual herbs, divine weapons, and martial arts inheritances dazzled him. The Great Elder was also smiling foolishly. He was so excited that even his beard was trembling. With so many cultivation resources, our Changsun sect will be able to reach the level of the 5 great saint lands in less than 10 years. Ling Xiao, you are really our lucky star. Nangongxian was also very excited. He had heard about what happened in the Changsun secret realm. The kings of the 4 great saint lands were all killed by Ling Xiao. Moreover, The treasures that the four great saint lands obtained from the Changsan secret realm had all landed in Ling Xiao's hands. Although Nangong Xian had expected this, he did not expect there to be so many treasures. Sect leader is too polite. I am also a member of the Changsan sect. With these resources, the Changsan sect will be safe for the next 100 years. Sect leader can recruit a large number of disciples and enrich the Changsan sect. After I destroy the four great saint lands tomorrow, I should be able to obtain even more resources. Ling Xiao said with a smile. The Changsan sect now had less than 1,000 disciples after going through a series of calamities. Compared to the Changsan sect's heyday when they had 1,000,000 disciples, it was a huge difference. With these resources, the Changsan sect could recruit a large number of disciples. You must be careful when you attack the four great saint lands tomorrow. The four great saint lands have been passed down for thousands of years. They might have some hidden techniques and killer moves. Do not underestimate them. Nangong Xian reminded. Sect leader, don't worry. I will be careful, Ling Xiao said with a smile. At night, the moon god and phoenix woman came together to ask Ling Xiao to let the Sun Moon Star sect and the Wan Shou sect go. After all, those who offended Ling Xiao had already been killed. The Sun Moon Star sect and the Changsan sect have a deep relationship. The Wan Shou sect can let them live, but they must pay a price. They must follow the Changsan sect's lead in the future. Can you make the decision? Ling Xiao said with a smile. Lord Yinyang of the Sun Moon Star sect was already dead. Even if it was for the sake of Shangguan Ming, Ling Xiao could not destroy the orthodoxy of the Sun Moon Star sect. However, he had to teach them a lesson. The Wan Shou sect had a deep grudge with Ling Xiao. However, in order to recruit the Phoenix woman, if the Wan Shou sect was willing to pay a price and submit to the Changsan sect, Ling Xiao might spare them. After the battle at the Changsan mountain, Ling Xiao's name had spread across the 8 Desolates region. Even the Great Saint lands would not dare to find trouble with Ling Xiao. The Sun Moon Star sect can do it. The moon god decided. We can compensate for some losses, but it will be difficult for the Wan Shou sect to submit to the Changsan sect, the Phoenix woman said with a bitter smile. Chapter 426. If they don't submit, then there's no need for the Wan Shou sect to exist. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a sharp light flashed in his eyes. The Phoenix maiden was sad. Although the Black Dragon King wanted to use her to cultivate the Vermilion Bird True technique, she grew up in the Wan Shou sect and had deep feelings for it. However, the Phoenix maiden also knew that the supreme elders of the Wan Shou sect would not listen to her and would not submit to the Changsan sect. They might not even compensate them. I'll go with you tomorrow. I'll try my best to persuade them. The Phoenix maiden sighed. If the Wan Shou sect did not realize their mistake, then they would really be annihilated. The next day, the golden morning sun shone on the peak of the Changsan mountain. Ling Xiao, the old goat, the moon goddess and the Phoenix maiden flew up and left the Changsan sect. Annihilating a sect, interesting. Hee Ling Xiao, which sect should we annihilate first? The old goat's eyes were filled with eagerness. The Wan Shou sect. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and looked towards the west of the fearsome beast mountain range. That was where the Wan Shou sect was located. All right, let's go. The old goat laughed. The 4 of them turned into a ray of light and flew towards the Wan Shou sect at an extremely fast speed. The battle at the Changsan mountain had shocked the entire 8 Desolation region. No one had expected Ling Xiao's combat strength to be so terrifying. The experts of the 4 great holy lands joined forces and attacked the Changsan mountain under the leadership of the 4 supreme elders. In the end, they were all annihilated. Moreover, the news of Ling Xiao's visit quickly spread throughout the 4 great holy lands. The 4 great holy lands were all jittery and heavily guarded. They activated the sect protection array and were ready for battle. On the way, Ling Xiao met the supreme elder of the Jade Lake sect, Zhong Huan, who led the 36 heavenly beings of the Jade Lake sect to support Ling Xiao. In fact, Ling Xiao wanted to thank Ji Feishuan and let the people of the Jade Lake sect have a share of the loot. Moreover, Zhong Huan came with the Jade Lake sect's most powerful void treasure ship. It was extremely fast. Everyone drove the void treasure ship all the way to the Wan Shou sect. The 8 Desolation region was filled with mountains and rivers. Ling Xiao stood in the clouds with an indifferent look in his eyes. A sharp aura surrounded him. In less than a day, the ship traveled more than 100,000 miles and arrived at a desolate mountain range. The Wanshou sect was located here. That's the Wanshou sect. The Phoenix Maiden pointed at a mountain range in front of her with a hint of emotion in her eyes. Crouching tiger and coiling dragon, yin and yang converge. The earth fiend illuminates the heavenly stars. This is the land of dragons and snakes. No wonder the Wanshou sect built their headquarters here. It really is a paradise. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of surprise. In front of him was an ancient and majestic mountain range that rose and fell continuously. It was like a huge dragon lying dormant on the ground, emitting a majestic aura. Spiritual mist pervaded the mountain range, and powerful demonic beasts roared, shaking the heavens. One could faintly see all kinds of strange flowers, herbs, old trees, and ancient vines. However, at the moment, the Wanshou sect was covered by a mysterious veil of light. It was obvious that the sect protection formation had been activated. The sect protection formation of the Wanshou sect is called the Wanshou Heaven Formation. It is extremely powerful and can withstand the attack of a noble realm expert. It also contains killing power, so be careful. The Phoenix Maiden said slowly. She had mixed feelings. She hoped that Ling Xiao could break the formation, but at the same time, she did not want Ling Xiao to do so. Wanshou Heaven Formation? The sect protection formation formed by the power of dragons and tigers, the Earth Chi Dragon vein, and the power of the heavenly demons is indeed extraordinary. However, it's still not enough to stop me. Ling Xiao smiled faintly with a trace of confidence in his eyes. He did not take the Wanshou Heaven Formation seriously at all. Stop. This is the holy land of the Wanshou sect. Get out if you don't want to die. A cold voice was heard. The clouds in the mountain range churned as a burly man with a black spear flew over. His eyes were filled with coldness. People of the Wanshou sect, listen up. I am Ling Xiao. The Wanshou sect has attacked the Changsan sect, which is a heinous crime. You have 30 minutes to open the sect protection formation. Hand over half of the treasures in the Wanshou sect, and bow down to the Changsan sect. Otherwise, the Wanshou sect will be wiped out. Ling Xiao did not even look at the burly man. He stood in the air with a vast aura around him. The thunderous voice that came out of his mouth spread throughout the entire Wanshou sect. What? You're Ling Xiao? The burly man's expression changed abruptly as a trace of seriousness appeared in his eyes. However, after hearing Ling Xiao's words, a trace of murderous intent appeared in his eyes. What an arrogant brat. How dare you come to the Wanshou sect and behave so atrociously? You're courting death. The burly man's eyes were cold as the black spear in his hand flew through the air like a black dragon piercing through the void. The burly man unleashed the power of a peak celestial being and stabbed at Ling Xiao's chest. In his opinion, Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the 3rd level of the celestial being realm. The rumors that Ling Xiao had killed the kings of the various sects were definitely just rumors. You're courting death. A cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes as a violent aura emanated from his body. He threw out a punch. Crack. The golden thunderbolt exploded, and a golden fist aura swept across the sky. It instantly blasted on the black spear, and directly smashed this powerful low-grade Dao tool into pieces. The punch did not lose its momentum. It landed on the burly man's chest, shattering his internal organs. In an instant, the burly man exploded into a bloody mist in the air. What? The experts from the Wanshou sect were all shocked, and their eyes were filled with fear. A peak celestial being was no match for Ling Xiao's punch. Could it be that Ling Xiao really had the combat strength to kill a noble? Ling Xiao, you've gone too far. The Black Dragon King, the chief of the Wanshou sect, and 2 supreme elders have died at your hands. Isn't that enough? Don't be so overbearing. 2 old men in black robes appeared in the Wanshou sky matrix. They emanated an extremely powerful aura, and their eyes were filled with malice and hatred. These 2 were the only remaining noble cultivators of the Wanshou sect, the last 2 supreme elders. They were both furious and fearful of Ling Xiao. Going too far? Does the Wanshou sect know how to go too far? Usually, You rely on your cultivation to bully the weak. Today you have the audacity to accuse me of going too far. So what if I'm going to bully you today? Agree to my terms and I'll spare your lives. Otherwise you'll all die. Ling Xiao sneered. His voice was decisive and domineering, leaving no room for disobedience. The Phoenix Lady could not stand it anymore. She stood out and begged, Supreme Elders, Ling Xiao now has the combat strength to kill a noble. The Wanshou sect is no match for him. Moreover, it was the Wanshou sect that attacked the Changsun sect first. I advise you to agree to Ling Xiao's terms. Can you bear to see the Wanshou sect's foundation destroyed? Bitch, shut up. One of the black-robed Supreme Elders roared. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. You betrayed the clan, deceived your master, and are in cahoots with Ling Xiao. How dare you try to persuade us? I only regret that I didn't persuade the chief to kill you and leave you as a scourge. If you want to destroy the Wanshou sect, you'll have to destroy the Wanshou Sky Matrix first. The Phoenix Lady's face turned pale, and her eyes turned cold. Chapter 427. Since the Wanshou sect wants to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly. His body exuded a boundless aura as he stepped forward. Rumble. Blazing golden clouds surged and blood qi shook the void. Ling Xiao stepped on the void and walked toward the Wanshou Heaven Formation with a domineering look in his eyes. Although the Wanshou Heaven Formation was powerful, Ling Xiao was a formation master in his previous life. This formation that the Wanshou sect had spent countless years on was full of flaws in Ling Xiao's eyes. Elder Ling Xiao killed several kings in the Longevity Mountain. If we provoke him, I'm afraid the Wanshou sect will be annihilated today. An expert from the Wanshou sect said with a trembling voice. His eyes were filled with fear. What's there to be afraid of? Even the sect leader couldn't break the Wanshou Heaven Formation. Ling Xiao is just a celestial realm cultivator. It's impossible for him to break the formation. I hope he can break into the formation. When the time comes, we'll activate the killing force together and kill him. The two Supreme Elders said coldly. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent. Rumble. At this moment, Ling Xiao made his move. He stood in the air above the myriad beast heavenward matrix. The sky-devouring sword in his hand emitted a blazing sharpness as he slowly raised it. Wind and thunder rumbled as the sky changed color. A terrifying sword will spread out. Break! Ling Xiao spat out a word. Suddenly, the sky-devouring sword emitted millions of rays of divine light, and slashed toward the Wanshou Heaven Formation. Roar! The myriad beast's skyward formation was shrouded in clouds and mist. Under the control of the two Supreme Elders, runes filled the air and earth qi surged. It directly transformed into a 10,000 zhang tall cloud beast. It looked extremely ferocious as it pounced towards Ling Xiao. Rumble! Unparalleled sword qi exploded. Ling Xiao's sword slashed at one of the nodes of the Wanshou Heaven Formation. Instantly, the giant cloud beast was shattered. Countless runes exploded, rumbling and shaking the world. The surrounding mountains began to crumble. The Wanshou Heaven Formation that had protected the Wanshou sect for countless years was broken in an instant. What? The two Wanshou sect Supreme Elders' eyes were filled with disbelief and fear. They had originally thought that it was impossible for Ling Xiao to break through the myriad beast's heavenward formation, and that he might even be killed by the formation. In the end, Ling Xiao had only used a single sword strike to break through the myriad beast's heavenward formation. With this kid here, the Bahuang region is destined to belong to the Longevity sect in the future. The Supreme Elder of the Jade Lake sect was shaken as he slowly spoke. Hee hee, old fogey, let me send you on your way. After Ling Xiao broke the thousand-beast heavenward formation, the old goat was not to be outdone. He turned into a bolt of black lightning and pounced towards the two Grand Elders. Young Master Ling, please spare our lives. We are willing to submit to Changsun sect. The two Grand Elders had already been scared out of their wits by Ling Xiao. How could they still have a shred of fighting spirit? Immediately, they began to plead repeatedly. Too late. The old goat laughed coldly as he spat out two blazing sword rays that instantly cut the two Grand Elders in half. The King Heaven Devourer cauldron buzzed as it sucked in the two Grand Elders and began to refine them. Experts of the noble plane had the will to rule over heaven and earth, which was very beneficial to the old goat's Dao injury. Since they were enemies, the old goat was not going to be courteous, and was prepared to refine them to heal his Dao injury. I'll have to trouble Grand Elder Zong from now on. Ling Xiao smiled at Zong Huan. The remaining Grand Elders of the Wan Shou sect were all experts below the noble plane, so they posed no threat to Ling Xiao. Don't worry, young Master Ling. None of the Wan Shou sect will escape. Zong Huan cupped his hands and smiled. He lowered his posture as he and the other experts of the Jade Lake sect charged towards the disciples and elders of the Wan Shou sect. The Wan Shou sect was the one who was unkind to you first. You don't have to be sad because of them. Ling Xiao glanced at Phoenix Maiden and said with a smile. I know, but this is where I've lived for decades. Fine, Ling Xiao, I'll take you to the treasury of the Wan Shou sect. The Phoenix Maiden smiled bitterly. She turned into a ray of light and led Ling Xiao to the treasury of the Wan Shou sect. The treasury of the Wan Shou sect was located at the center of the mountain range and was protected by a large formation. However, with Ling Xiao around, the formation was easily broken. The door of the treasury was wide open. Even Ling Xiao, who had seen countless treasures, was surprised. The Wan Shou sect was indeed a large sect with thousands of years of history. There were dozens of palaces filled with elixirs, treasures, and weapons in the treasury. However, there were not many treasures that caught Ling Xiao's attention. The most powerful weapon of the Wan Shou sect was only an upper-grade doctrine instrument. What piqued Ling Xiao's interest was a stone tablet that recorded a powerful ancient scripture. The Wan Shou Sutra? Too bad it's only a fragment. The 10,000 Beasts scripture was recorded on a stone tablet. On it were the Azure Dragon True Exercise, White Tiger True Exercise, Vermilion Bird True Exercise, Black Tortoise True Exercise, Heavenly Snake True Exercise, Demonic Bear True Exercise, and Heavenly Wolf True Exercise. What made Ling Xiao feel pity was that the Wan Shou Sutra was very mysterious and was a supreme technique. However, it was too incomplete, so he could only practice the 7 major techniques. This Wan Shou Sutra is useful to me. Maybe I can find the complete Wan Shou Sutra on the War God continent. Give it to me. The old goat's eyes lit up. He opened his mouth and swallowed the stone tablet with the Wan Shou Sutra into his stomach. Ling Xiao knew that there was a huge space in the old goat's stomach. Not to mention a stone tablet, even a sacred mountain could fit in it. He smiled and left it alone. Ling Xiao took most of the treasures without hesitation, leaving a small portion for the Jade Lake sect. Under the pursuit of Zong Huan and the experts of the Jade Lake sect, most of the Celestial Realm elders and disciples were killed. The rest fled in all directions. The Wan Shou sect was completely destroyed in this battle. The people of the Jade Lake sect took the rest of the treasures. Their eyes were filled with satisfaction and joy. This time, they followed Ling Xiao to destroy the sect without any danger. Instead, they gained a lot, which made them very excited. Next, the Terminator Demon sect. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and boarded the treasure ship to the Terminator Demon sect with the experts of the Jade Lake sect. Next, Ling Xiao used 3 days to destroy the Terminator Demon sect and the Underworld sect. These 2 sacred lands were naturally unwilling to submit to the Changsun sect. In the end, Ling Xiao broke their sect's formation and killed all the noble realm elders. He also took all the treasures of the sections. Ling Xiao's feat of destroying the Wan Shou sect, the Terminator Demon sect, and the Underworld sect in a few days shocked the entire 8 Desolation region. Although Ling Xiao had the combat strength to kill a noble realm cultivator, that didn't mean that he could destroy the sacred lands. Chapter 428. With Ling Xiao around, the rise of Changsun sect is inevitable. Someone exclaimed. There were even many sects that were jealous. Why didn't their sect have such a demonic disciple like Ling Xiao? The people from Dahuang Ancient Country and Dahong Ancient Country were also anxious. They felt that a disaster was coming, and they were afraid that Ling Xiao would kill them. In the end, when they saw that Ling Xiao had only destroyed a few sanctuaries and didn't find trouble with them, they were slightly relieved. At the same time, they warned the people from the ancient country not to provoke Changsun sect and Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's last stop was Sun Moon Stars sect. The mountain gate of Sun Moon Star's sect was called Enyang Mountain. Enyang Mountain was 10,000 feet tall, and it stood on a vast plain. The vast starry sky above its head was tainted by the radiant power of the stars, giving Enyang Mountain a mysterious power. The mountain was majestic and vast. From afar, it looked like a star that was covered in brilliant rays. Although Ling Xiao couldn't destroy Sun Moon Star's sect because of Shangguan Ming, he still had to give them a warning. Originally, Ling Xiao thought that Sun Moon Star's sect would be like the other sects and they would resist stubbornly. However, when Ling Xiao arrived at Enyang Mountain, he realized that the sect-protecting array of Sun Moon Star's sect was open. Under the lead of the two supreme elders, all the disciples of Sun Moon Star's sect were respectfully standing on two sides to welcome Ling Xiao and the rest. Greetings to the saint. After seeing Ling Xiao, the two white-haired grand elders quickly came forward to greet him. They bowed deeply to Ling Xiao, their faces filled with respect and awe. Originally, they had planned to activate the sect-protecting array to stop Ling Xiao, and even lure him into the array to kill him. However, when the news of Wanshou sect, Terminator Demon sect and Underworld sect being destroyed by Ling Xiao spread, the two supreme elders were scared witless. They didn't have any intention to resist. Moreover, they knew that Yueshan and Ling Xiao were close. As long as they lowered their stance, Ling Xiao might let Sun Moon Star's sect off for Yueshan's sake. Why do you call me the saint? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he looked at the two grand elders with a smile that was not a smile. Under Ling Xiao's gaze, sweat appeared on the foreheads of the two grand elders. They felt an invisible pressure. Reporting to the Holy Sun, 10,000 years ago, our Sun Moon Star sect was originally a subsidiary sect of the Longevity sect. Moreover, the ancestor passed down the ancestral teachings that the Holy Sun of the Longevity sect is the Holy Sun of our Sun Moon Star sect. Below the sect master, everyone must submit to the Holy Sun. A supreme elder said cautiously. The other grand elder nodded repeatedly and said, "That's right." The Enyang lords and the sun god tried to harm the saint, and they deserve to die. I hope that the saint will spare the Sun Moon Star sect. We will follow the saint's lead in the future. Hand over half of the Sun Moon Star sect's treasures, and don't go against the Longevity sect in the future. Then I can let you go this time. Ling Xiao retracted his gaze and said indifferently, "Thank you, saint. Thank you, saint." The two supreme elders were pleasantly surprised. The Sun Moon Star sect had escaped a calamity and didn't have to be destroyed like the other three sections. Not to mention half of their treasures. Even if they had to hand over all of their treasures, they wouldn't have any objections. Ling Xiao, I'll bring you to see the Sun Moon Sky Steel. The moon deity smiled faintly. She was happy that the Sun Moon Star sect could be saved. Moreover, the moon deity seemed to know what Ling Xiao was thinking and said what was in his heart. The Sun Moon Sky Steel? Great, lead the way. Ling Xiao smiled. His main purpose of this trip wasn't to destroy the Sun Moon Star sect, but the Sun Moon Sky Steel. The Sun Moon Sky Steel was a treasure that he had given to Shang Guanming back then. It came from the same relic as the Sun Moon Star scripture. Ling Xiao was curious about the fact that this treasure had been preserved perfectly. The two supreme elders sent people to prepare the treasures as they called out to the experts in the Jade Lake sect. Ling Xiao brought the old goat and the phoenix lady and followed the moon deity to the Enyang peak. The Sun Moon Sky Steel was at the peak of the mountain. Standing at the peak of the Enyang peak, the surroundings were quiet. The vast land was in sight, and the stars were shining brightly above their heads. The Milky Way was crisscrossing, and the starlight was shining brightly. It was as if one could reach out and pluck a star. The source of the starlight was a 90-foot-tall steel. The steel looked strange. It was half black and half white. It absorbed the power of the stars and gave out an ancient and mysterious power. The steel looked smooth, and there wasn't a single word on it. When one looked at it, one would feel at peace, as if it contained an endless void. This is the Sun Moon Sky Steel. The moon deity had a strange look in her eyes. She said slowly, "Legend has it that the Sun Moon Sky Steel was a treasure that the Sky-Devouring Supreme had given to the Shangguan ancestor. However, for 10,000 years, no one has been able to pull it out. The Sun Moon Sky Steel is the core of the sect protection formation, and it has blocked countless invasions. It is said that it once drank the blood of an emperor. Moreover, cultivating the Sun-Moon True Skill and the Sun-Moon True Skill in front of the Sun-Moon Sky Steel is twice the result with half the effort. The moon deity had obtained the Sun-Moon Star Sect, and she felt that there was a mysterious connection between her and the Sun-Moon Sky Steel. The Sun-Moon Sky Steel, I didn't expect it to still be here. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a tinge of emotion. Fortunately, the elders of the Sun-Moon Star Sect were frightened by Ling Xiao, and they were willing to open the sect protection formation and surrender. Otherwise, with the Sun-Moon Sky Steel as the eye of the formation, it wouldn't be so easy for Ling Xiao to break the formation. The Sun-Moon Sky Steel was a unique treasure. In his previous life, only Shangguan Ming, who cultivated the Sun-Moon Star Scripture, could activate it. Of course, Ling Xiao could do it too. Although the Sun-Moon Sky Steel wasn't a supreme weapon, it had the power of a supreme weapon. When unleashed to the extreme, it could destroy the heavens and the earth. Ling Xiao walked to the front of the Sun-Moon Sky Steel and stretched out his hands to grab both sides of the steel. The white side was blazing hot, and the black side was bone-chilling cold. Ling Xiao activated the sky-devouring secret skill, and his arms exploded with violent strength as he pulled the steel out. "Rise!" Ling Xiao shouted. Suddenly, the entire Yinyang mountain trembled. Blazing starlight shone down like water waves, and it was dazzling. The Sun-Moon Sky Steel shone brightly, and a vision of the sun and the moon appeared. It rumbled and trembled as it was pulled out of the Yinyang mountain by Ling Xiao. This is the aura. No wonder it's so familiar. It's because of the Sun-Moon Sky Steel. The moon deity's eyes sparkled as she exclaimed in her heart. At this moment, Ling Xiao was pulling out the Sun-Moon Sky Steel. It seemed to overlap with a mysterious image in her heart, and she understood it. Boom. The Sun-Moon Sky Steel was finally pulled out by Ling Xiao. Chapter 429. Crack. When Ling Xiao pulled out the heavenly moon steel, billions of lightning bolts exploded. The entire Yinyang mountain was filled with lightning. Starlight fell from the sky and poured into the heavenly moon steel. The heavenly moon steel floated in the air and gave out a mysterious aura. It swept away all the starlight and turned into a ray of light that fell into Ling Xiao's hand. The heavenly steel of sun and moon turned into a 3-inch wide and 9-inch long brick. It was black and white and sparkled like jade. It looked dazzling. Moreover, Ling Xiao felt that with a thought, the heavenly steel of sun and moon could turn into 100,000 feet tall and suppress everything. It's a brick? The old goat opened his eyes wide in disbelief. Don't underestimate the heavenly steel of sun and moon. When it's fully activated, it's like an immemorial sacred mountain. It can even kill an emperor. It's easy to use. Ling Xiao smiled. He recalled that 10,000 years ago, the heavenly steel of sun and moon was in Shangguanming's hands. He could kill anything that stood in his way. However, as time passed, Shangguanming died and the heavenly steel of sun and moon was left behind. Try activating the heavenly steel of sun and moon. Ling Xiao passed the heavenly steel of sun and moon to Yueshan. Yueshan cultivated the scripture of sun and moon and stars. She might be able to activate this treasure. Yueshan didn't take it. Instead, she smiled faintly and said, "This heavenly steel of sun and moon can gather the power of stars in Zhou. It's very beneficial for me to cultivate the scripture of sun and moon and stars. However, other than that, it has no other use. Since you like it, keep it." Yueshan didn't covet the heavenly steel of sun and moon at all. Instead, she smiled faintly. All right. Ling Xiao didn't stand on ceremony and kept the heavenly steel of sun and moon. Not long after, the Grand Elder of Sun and Moon Stars sect prepared half of the treasures and carefully sent them to Yinyang Mountain. Even though they had sensed the terrifying phenomenon at the Yinyang Mountain, they knew better than to ask about it. This matter is over. Since you cultivate the scripture of sun and moon and stars, you can inherit the position of Sun and Moon Stars sect master. Ling Xiao glanced at the moon god and said slowly. For some reason, Ling Xiao felt that he could not see through Moon Goddess, especially after she had cultivated the Lunisolar Sutra. It was as if the woman before him was really a divine daughter of the lunar palace that descended to the mundane world, about to drift away. No need. I wholeheartedly pursue the martial Tao. The position of sect master should be given to someone else. You should be heading to the war god continent soon, right? I'll go with you. The moon god smiled faintly. She did not look reluctant to leave. In the end, Ling Xiao, the old goat, and the others rose into the sky and returned to the Chongsun sect under the respectful gazes of the two grand elders. Along the way, the Jade Lake sect's grand elder Zhong Huan bid farewell. His attitude was respectful and excited. The Jade Lake sect had earned a lot from destroying the Netherworld sect, Myriad Beast sect, and Terminator Demon sect. Most importantly, the 3 Holy Lands had been destroyed. Now only the Jade Lake sect, the Sun Moon sect, and the Chongsun sect were left in the 8 Desolation region. The resources and territories left by the 3 Holy Lands were also very valuable. Zhong Huan was both respectful and fearful of Ling Xiao. When they returned to the Chongsun sect, the entire Chongsun sect was in an uproar. The news of Ling Xiao destroying the 3 Holy Lands had already spread to the Chongsun sect. Nangongxian, who was worried, was extremely excited. The entire Chongsun sect was also elated. Ling Xiao had to exchange greetings with everyone. Sect Master, I wish to preach again in a month's time. I wish to preach the martial Tao to immortality. Ling Xiao smiled at Nangongxian. Preach the martial Tao to immortality? You've decided to leave? Nangongxian's eyes flickered. He could guess Ling Xiao's thoughts. Ling Xiao was probably going to leave the 8 Desolation region and head to the War God continent. That's right. The 8 Desolation region has been forgotten by this world. The War God continent is the center of this world. That's where the geniuses fight for supremacy. That's where I can truly break through to the peak of the martial Tao. Ling Xiao's eyes shone with a sharp light. He was confident and arrogant. There was something he didn't say out loud. He could only find Jinsei in the War God continent. I know that the 8 Desolation region is too small for you. Your journey is to the War God continent and the Sea of Stars. However, I didn't expect this day to come so soon. However, the 8 Desolation region and the War God continent are separated by the boundless reincarnation ocean. How are you going to get there? Nangongxian said with some emotion. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, The underworld ship. What? Nangongxian's expression changed. His eyes were filled with worry. He hurriedly advised, No, the underworld ship is too strange. It said that the underworld ship is a ship that travels to the underworld. Most of the people who boarded the underworld ship have disappeared. Less than 1 out of 10 people can use the underworld ship to travel to the War God continent. You can't take the risk. 10,000 years ago, the 8 Desolation region was located in the north of the 8 Desolation region. It reigned supreme, and was where the Chongsun sect was located. At that time, the 8 Desolation region was the center of the world. Tens of thousands of creatures worshipped it. Experts were endless. However, in the Great Calamity 10,000 years ago, the 8 Desolation region was shattered in the endless war. The sky collapsed. It was said that the reincarnation ocean was formed between the 8 Desolation region and the War God continent. The reincarnation ocean contained the chaotic power of yin and yang. Noble realm and monarch realm experts would definitely die if they entered. Even supremes didn't dare to enter rashly. The reincarnation ocean was extremely mysterious. Not only did it have terrifying reincarnation storms, powerful and bloodthirsty reincarnation beasts, but the most bizarre thing was the underworld ship. No one knew the origin of the underworld ship. However, the underworld ship would dock at the 8 Desolation region and the War God continent every year. Some people had boarded the underworld ship and safely arrived at the War God continent. However, even more people had disappeared inside the underworld ship. It was extremely strange. Sect Master, don't worry. I'll be careful. The underworld ship isn't as terrifying as the legends say. Moreover, other than the underworld ship, the War God continent also has some adventure ships in the underworld sea. As long as we encounter those adventure ships, we'll be able to successfully arrive at the War God continent. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His attitude was very firm. The reason why Ling Xiao decided to board the underworld ship was because the underworld ship had appeared 10,000 years ago. Although it was very mysterious, as long as one didn't violate the taboo of the underworld ship, they wouldn't lose their lives. Moreover, the underworld ship was the only passage between the War God continent and the 8 Desolation region. The 9th Holy Sun and Impermanence Ghost General had used the underworld ship to reach the 8 Desolation region. Alright. Nangong Xian had no choice but to agree. In the end, Ling Xiao changed the topic. He took out all the heavenly treasures he had plundered from the 3 holy lands. Nangong Xian immediately became excited. Chapter 430. You really have the secret skill of the true phoenix? Phoenix Woman's eyes were filled with disbelief. Previously, when Ling Xiao told her that he could help her find the secret skill of the true phoenix, she did not have much hope. But now, she was completely shocked. What's the big deal about the secret skill of the true phoenix? As long as you follow me, you will have the supreme secret skill, and even divine martial arts in the future. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Divine martial arts? You're just bragging. Phoenix Woman rolled her eyes, but she was starting to believe him. This young man had obtained the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme, and had created too many miracles. Of course, what Phoenix Woman was looking forward to the most was the secret skill of the true phoenix. She cultivated the vermilion bird true technique, and her primordial yin was extremely dense. She was on the verge of exploding. Recently, she had been controlling her cultivation. Only the secret skill of the true phoenix could completely resolve her current crisis. The old goat reluctantly guarded Ling Xiao outside while Ling Xiao brought Phoenix Woman into the secret chamber and began to teach her the secret skill of the true phoenix. Conceal your spirit, merge with the heavens and earth, and return to the myriad forms. True like Huixin. Under Ling Xiao's guidance, Phoenix Woman sat down cross-legged and began to adjust her spirit. Her aura gradually calmed down and her mind became clear. Ling Xiao sat opposite Phoenix Woman and pointed his finger. Suddenly, the secret skill of the true phoenix turned into a dazzling stream of light and merged into Phoenix Woman's forehead. Ling Xiao's eyes were solemn. The primordial spirit of the Zhang 6 golden body in his sea of consciousness emitted boundless light as he channeled the power of the secret skill of the true phoenix. If Ling Xiao had not had a fortuitous encounter in the longevity secret territory and condensed the Zhang 6 golden body primordial spirit, it would have been extremely difficult to impart the secret skill of the true phoenix to others. After all, the secret skill of the true phoenix contained the charm of the ancient true phoenix and involved the laws of heaven and earth. Ling Xiao himself had not fully comprehended it, so what he imparted to Phoenix Woman was only a part of it. Wang. Countless runes flashed in the secret skill of the true phoenix. The ancient characters were dazzling and turned into a phoenix that was about to fly. It was bathed in 5-colored divine light and merged with Phoenix Woman's soul. Is this the true phoenix secret technique? The heart of the Phoenix Maiden trembled. She was incomparably excited. She felt a mysterious fluctuation spread out. Her primordial spirit seemed to have been brought to the beginning of the immemorial era. She saw a huge 5-colored phoenix that emitted an incomparably terrifying power. Rumble. Within the Phoenix Girl's bloodline, strands of black divine light erupted, spewing out endless essence of the world. Her bloodline began to form a miraculous resonance with the huge 5-colored phoenix. Blazing flames gushed out, revealing a 5-colored light that enveloped the Phoenix Girl. At the same time, her aura began to surge. Is the dark phoenix body finally going to awaken? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of anticipation. At the same time, Ling Xiao felt that when the Phoenix Maiden received the inheritance of the true phoenix secret technique, the speed of his cultivation of the true phoenix treasured technique actually increased rapidly. Ling Xiao's body also started to emit a mysterious phoenix qi, which intertwined with the Phoenix Woman's. It was incomparably vast. Inside the secret chamber, Ling Xiao had already prepared over 1 million spirit crystals. He had even taken out the 3,000 pure yang pills, just in case. Sure enough, when Ling Xiao and the Phoenix Maiden sank into the Tao comprehending realm, their bodies began to absorb the essence of the world. Their cultivation began to surge. Hot, so hot. When the Phoenix Maiden received the inheritance of the true phoenix secret technique, the vast amount of primordial yin energy that had been accumulated in her body began to surge uncontrollably. A blazing flame erupted, causing the Phoenix Maiden's clothes to be completely reduced to nothingness. A perfect body that could cause one's blood to boil appeared in front of Ling Xiao. Moreover, the Phoenix Maiden's jade-like arms instantly wrapped around Ling Xiao. Her hot body pressed against Ling Xiao's body and began to rub against him. The Phoenix Maiden's skin was like jade, and the waves in front of her chest were surging, revealing her perfect roundness. Her small waist was slender, and her thighs were slender and straight. At the same time, a black light burst out of her body, causing her to flicker in and out of existence, bringing about a different kind of temptation. The Phoenix Maiden's eyes were a little dazed. Her red lips were tender and charming as she directly pressed against Ling Xiao's lips. What? Ling Xiao's body shook, and he instantly woke up from his cultivation state. When he saw the Phoenix Maiden in front of him, he immediately revealed a bitter smile. This Black Dragon King is really ruthless. I originally thought that the true Phoenix secret technique would be able to completely resolve her crisis. I didn't expect her primordial Yin energy to have completely gone berserk. If I can't resolve the primordial Yin energy in her body, even with the true Phoenix secret technique, the Phoenix Maiden will be burned to death by the flames of desire. The power of Ling Xiao's primordial spirit was incomparably strong, and he instantly discovered the situation within the Phoenix Maiden's body. However, if he wanted to resolve the Phoenix Maiden's primordial Yin energy, he would have to have sex with a man. Although Ling Xiao's blood was boiling and his heart was racing, he didn't want to take advantage of the Phoenix Maiden at this time. Alright, actually, he had already taken advantage of her enough. I can only try the heaven-devouring secret technique. Ling Xiao struggled out of the Phoenix Maiden's embrace, not daring to look at the snow-white and smooth Holy Maiden peak in front of him. The heaven-devouring golden lotus was dazzling as it slowly floated up and landed on the Phoenix Maiden's head. Boom! A powerful devouring force erupted, and the primordial Yin energy in the Phoenix Maiden's body instantly swarmed towards the heaven-devouring golden lotus. The primordial Yin energy was the innate primordial Yin energy that contained a trace of the secrets of Yin and Yang. It also contained the Phoenix Maiden's lifelong cultivation. At this moment, it was devoured by Ling Xiao, and instantly turned into a violent force that began to push Ling Xiao's cultivation up rapidly. The power of the surrounding spiritual crystals and pure yang pills were all devoured by the sky-devouring golden lotus, faintly forming a strange taiji diagram. Between Ling Xiao and the Phoenix Maiden, there was a strange phenomenon of Yin and Yang coexisting. After the primordial Yin energy was released, the Phoenix Maiden gradually calmed down. However, she still hugged Ling Xiao's neck, and her legs crossed around his waist in a very subtle posture. Vaguely, there seemed to be a five-colored phoenix that circled around Ling Xiao and the Phoenix Maiden for a while, and instantly merged into their bodies. 4th level of the Celestial Being Realm. 5th level of the Celestial Being Realm. 6th level of the Celestial Being Realm. 7th level of the Celestial Being Realm. 8th level of the Celestial Being Realm. 9th level of the Celestial Realm. Ling Xiao and the Phoenix Maiden's cultivation actually began to soar at the same time, all the way to the peak of the 9th level of the Celestial Realm, before it gradually quieted down. After an unknown period of time, the Phoenix Maiden woke up. When she saw the scene in front of her, she instantly let out a shrill scream. Ah! Ling Xiao, I'm going to kill you. Chapter 431. Ling Xiao grabbed Phoenix Girl's hand and said helplessly, Miss Phoenix Girl, I didn't know that the primordial Yin energy in your body would go berserk after you cultivated the true Phoenix secret technique. Moreover, I didn't do anything to you. You're still talking. The Phoenix Girl gritted her teeth. She was so angry that her shoulders were trembling, and her cheeks were flushed red. Her angry appearance had a unique charm to it. Furthermore, the Phoenix Girl was still lying on Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao could not help but stare at her. Ah, bastard! Seeing Ling Xiao's eyes, Phoenix Girl suddenly came to her senses. She was completely naked, and her position was so embarrassing. She immediately bounced off Ling Xiao's body and hurriedly grabbed a long robe to put it on. Phoenix Girl was embarrassed and angry. She wanted to find a hole to hide in. That. Miss Phoenix Girl, This is your first time inheriting the true Phoenix secret technique. You must consolidate it as soon as possible. I'll go out and take a look. Ling Xiao coughed dryly and quickly found an excuse to slip out. Although Ling Xiao did not expect the primordial Yin energy to go berserk, he still felt a little guilty after seeing the girl's body. So he ran out of the secret chamber in a panic. Bastard, see how I'll deal with you when I come out. My cultivation has broken through to the 9th level of the sky human realm. Phoenix Girl's face was extremely red. However, when she felt the majestic true chi in her body, she was stunned. After inheriting the true Phoenix secret technique, her dark Phoenix body began to awaken. Her cultivation had skyrocketed. Phoenix Girl was angry and happy at the same time. She had mixed feelings. After Ling Xiao left the secret chamber, he saw Shui Wei in a white dress outside the secret chamber. Young master, you're finally out. I thought something had happened to you. Shui Wei's face revealed a hint of surprise as she hurriedly said, Shui Wei, why are you here? Where's the old goat? Ling Xiao was confused. The old goat outside the secret chamber was not there, but Shui Wei was here. Young master, you've been in the secret chamber for 9 days and 9 nights. I really thought something had happened to you. Shui Wei sighed in relief and said with a smile, 9 days and 9 nights. Ling Xiao could not help but click his tongue. When he taught the Phoenix Maiden the true Phoenix secret technique, he originally thought that it would only take a few hours. He did not expect that 9 days and 9 nights had passed. Thinking back to the fact that he had already broken through to the 9th level of the sky human stage, Ling Xiao could not help but sigh. As expected, there was no day or night in cultivation. Young master, quickly go and take a look. I don't know where this wild child came from, but he wants to see you by name. The disciples of the Long Life sect have almost all been beaten up by him. The old goat is so angry that he has already gone to find trouble with that wild child. Shui Wei urged. Wild child. Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. At that moment, a loud sound came from the sky above Longevity Mountain. 2 figures clashed violently and Ling Xiao could even hear the old goat's miserable cry. Without giving Ling Xiao much time to think, he immediately brought Shui Wei to the peak of Chongqing Mountain. At the top of Longevity Mountain, the old goat fell from the sky like a shooting star, causing the mountain to violently tremble. A resplendent rune neutralized the old goat's recoil. Otherwise, the old goat would have created a huge hole in the mountain. Wild child, do you dare to tell me your name? You're infuriating me to death. If it wasn't for the fact that my Dao injury hasn't healed, I would definitely beat you up until your father can't recognize you. The old goat was so angry that he cried out loudly, his eyes filled with rage. A little boy who looked to be no more than 5 or 6 years old stood in the sky. He blinked his big eyes, and his chubby little face was very cute. The little boy's eyes revealed a trace of disdain as he said, You don't deserve to know my name. Old goat, you're quite capable, but if you want to know my name, you'll have to defeat me first. Wahahaha, you're infuriating me to death. Wild child, I'll definitely teach you a good lesson today. The old goat was so angry that he roared. He was a little angry from embarrassment, unable to keep his face. This little boy who looked to be no more than 5 or 6 years old was too abnormal. Not only did he defeat countless disciples of the Long Life sect, but he also blasted the old goat down from the sky with a single punch. He simply had unparalleled godly strength. Stop. Just as the old goat was about to charge forward, Ling Xiao and Shui Wei arrived. Ling Xiao looked at the little boy in the sky. He didn't know why, but he felt a sense of familiarity from his bloodline, which made Ling Xiao's hair stand on end. I'm Ling Xiao. I heard you were looking for me. Ling Xiao looked at the little boy suspiciously and asked, You're Ling Xiao? Aha. I really found you. Ling Xiao, take my punch first. The little boy's eyes were filled with excitement. His eyes rolled around, and he actually turned into a ray of golden light, smashing his chubby little fist towards Ling Xiao. Rumble. Ling Xiao's expression changed instantly when the little boy's punch landed. This punch was purely based on the strength of the physical body. It was vast and unparalleled. Golden lightning exploded in the sky like an immemorial divine mountain, pressing down on Ling Xiao. Good timing. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of unparalleled battle intent. The strength of the flying dragon body completely exploded. He also formed a golden fist and rushed into the sky. It was no wonder that this little boy was able to strike down the old goat with a punch. Even Ling Xiao felt an immense pressure. This was the first time Ling Xiao had seen such a terrifying physical strength since his rebirth. Could it be that this little boy was really a divine beast cub? Boom! The two fists collided, and a vast divine light radiated out. The surrounding clouds were instantly dispersed, revealing the clear blue sky. The terrifying sound waves spread out, shaking the ears of the people below. Their blood was boiling, and their faces were extremely pale. Who is this little boy? How can he have such terrifying strength? Nan Gongxian and the others were stunned. A 5- or 6-year-old child's physical strength was actually not weaker than Ling Xiao's. It was simply heaven-defying. Ling Xiao was sent flying dozens of feet by the little boy's punch, and the little boy somersaulted in the sky and stood firmly on the clouds. Ah! This is great. You're much stronger than that old goat. Come again. The little boy beamed, and golden light flashed in his eyes. He shouted loudly, and it was as if a dragon's roar shook the world. A terrifying dragon's aura spread out like a real dragon's claws, attacking Ling Xiao. A member of the dragon clan? Ling Xiao shook his numb arm and felt the vast dragon's aura. Instantly, a trace of shock appeared in his eyes. However, this punch was already in front of him. Without giving Ling Xiao time to think, the power of the ancestral dragon's secret skill completely exploded. At the same time, he activated the violent dragon superpower. Ling Xiao was enveloped in golden light, and lightning surged. The golden fist pierced through the void and blasted forward again. This was the peak of Ling Xiao's physical strength. Even the current old goat was no match for Ling Xiao in terms of physical strength without fully recovering from his Dao injury. Boom! The blazing golden light exploded like a sun, instantly drowning Ling Xiao and the little boy. Chapter 432. Who the hell are you? Ling Xiao stared at the little boy with burning eyes. Ling Xiao knew that he had lost in terms of physical strength. Ling Xiao unleashed the power of the body of the flying dragon, and used the berserk dragon superpower to increase his combat strength by 8 times. Only then did he barely beat the little boy. This little boy was a monster. He was even scarier than the legendary baby beasts. Awesome, this is awesome. You're the first person to beat me in terms of physical strength. No wonder you're my cousin. The little boy's eyes lit up, and his eyes were filled with excitement. Cousin? Ling Xiao was stunned. Since when did he have another cousin? That's right. Cousin. Is your mother Mu Hanyan? Mu Hanyan is my aunt, so you're my cousin. The little boy was like a completely different person from before. He ran over affectionately as though he knew Ling Xiao well. Nan Gongxian, the old goat, and the rest were dumbfounded. They originally thought that this little boy was here to cause trouble for the Changsun sect. Everyone was still wondering about this little boy's background. In the blink of an eye, he became Ling Xiao's cousin. This kind of change caused everyone to be unable to wrap their heads around it for a moment. Mu Hanyan. My mother. She's from the dragon tribe? Although Ling Xiao had guessed it, he only confirmed it when he sensed the powerful dragon aura from the little boy. The little boy was definitely from the dragon tribe. Even Ling Xiao, who had cultivated the ancestral dragon secret skill, couldn't compare to his majestic dragon aura. That's right. Your mother is the Princess Royal of the Crystal Palace. I'm Long Outyin, the 9th Prince of the Crystal Palace. You're my cousin. The little boy had an arrogant look on his face as if he was saying, I'm awesome, right? Come and praise me. Long Outyin? The corner of Ling Xiao's mouth twitched. This name reminded him of Zhao Ritian. Both of them were weird. The 3 words Crystal Palace made Ling Xiao's eyes narrow. The Crystal Palace had a long history. It was said that it had been passed down since the ancient times. Its strength was unfathomable. Even when the Changsun sect dominated the world 10,000 years ago, Ling Xiao didn't dare to say that the Changsun sect could beat the Crystal Palace. After all, the dragon tribe was the overlord of the world in the ancient times. They had the bloodline of the divine beasts. They just kept a low profile. This kid was the 9th prince of the Crystal Palace. No wonder he was so demonic. He had such terrifying combat strength at the age of 5 or 6. The dragon tribe's bloodline must be extremely pure. Your surname is Long. Why is Mu Hanyan? Ling Xiao asked doubtfully. Why are you so stupid? Aunt's name is Long Hanyan. Mu Hanyan is just her alias. Long Outyan looked at Ling Xiao with disdain. Alright, you win. Ling Xiao was speechless as he brought Long Outyan to the top of Longevity Mountain. Although Nangongxian and the others did not know what the Crystal Palace was, the 2 words Dragon Clan shocked them. Their eyes were filled with reverence. Ling Xiao brought Long Outyan to Jin's pavilion. He had many questions for the little fellow to answer. Old goat, where are you going? Seeing that the old goat wanted to sneak away, Ling Xiao couldn't help but smile. 10,000 years ago, the old goat's favorite pastime was to rob the tombs of the strong. It had even visited the Crystal Palace before. In the end, it went for wool and came home shorn. Instead, it was taught a lesson by the violent dragons. If Ling Xiao hadn't saved it in the end, the old goat would have been in deep trouble. Therefore, the old goat was traumatized at the mention of the dragon tribe. You guys chat. I remember that I have something to do. I'll take my leave first. The old goat squeezed out a smile on his face and disappeared with a whoosh. Cousin, that old goat is so weird. It seems to be afraid of me. Why don't you give it to me as a mount? Outyan blinked his big eyes and looked at the old goat strangely. Forget it. It's too ugly. It doesn't suit your status. I'll catch a Qilin for you another day. Ling Xiao smiled. Qilin? That's what you said. You can't lie to me. Outyan's eyes lit up, and he quickly took advantage of the situation. Back at the Jin's pavilion, Ling Xiao asked about his doubts, such as the whereabouts of Ling Zhen and Long Hanyan, and why Outyan came to the 8 Desolates region. Cousin, my aunt is being suppressed by father in the ECI. She's in a bad situation. When Long Hanyan was mentioned, Outyan's voice became gloomy. What happened? Ling Zhao's eyes turned cold. Although he was the sky-devouring supreme in his previous life, Ling Xiao had unknowingly treated Ling Zhen and Long Hanyan as his parents. Hearing that Long Hanyan was in trouble, Ling Zhao's eyes turned cold. I heard it from my brothers and elders. 20 years ago, my father wanted to marry the great sun demon Venerable of the Sky Demon Palace. He betrothed my aunt to the great sun demon Venerable's son, the sky-scorching demon emperor. However, my aunt didn't agree. She ran away from home and accidentally boarded the Netherworld ship. By chance, she came to the 8 Desolates region and met my uncle. They fell in love and gave birth to you. When my father heard that my aunt ran away from home, he was furious and sent people to look for my aunt. In the end, he found my aunt in the 8 Desolates region and brought her back. The sky-scorching demon emperor was also infatuated. He didn't mind that my aunt was married and wanted to marry my aunt. In the end, my aunt didn't agree. My father was furious and suppressed my aunt in the ECI. 4 to 5 years ago, your father, Ling Zhen, actually left the 8 Desolates region and went to the Eastern Sea alone to look for your aunt. He tried in vain to break the seal of the Eastern Sea and save your aunt. In the end, he was severely injured and went missing. Long Outyan told Ling Xiao about Ling Zhen and Long Hanyan's situation. Ling Zhao's eyes turned colder and colder. Your father is really ruthless. He didn't even let his own sister go. Ling Zhao's voice was cold. My father had no choice. My Crystal Palace was in trouble. If not for the help of the Sky Demon Palace, the Crystal Palace would have. However, my aunt's life is not in danger. When my father thinks it through, he will definitely let my aunt go. Long Outyan sighed like an adult. Alright, I know. Why are you here? Ling Xiao suppressed the anger in his heart. The Dragon King of the East Sea of the Crystal Palace was a supreme being. Ling Xiao was no match for him now. When Ling Xiao regained the cultivation of his previous life, so what if he was the Dragon King of the East Sea? With one word he would release Long Hanyan. I just wanted to see my cousin. I didn't expect him to be so powerful. The true dragon bloodline in his body is on the verge of awakening. Chapter 433. You snuck out, didn't you? Ling Xiao rolled his eyes. It was obvious that Long Outyin was lying. Long Outyin said that Ling Xiao had the bloodline of a true dragon. When Ling Xiao cultivated the secret skills of the ancestral dragon, it was as if he had the help of a god. In just 1 year, he broke through the 3 realms of the Jiao dragon body, the earth dragon body, and the flying dragon body. This showed that Ling Xiao's bloodline was extraordinary. However, Ling Xiao was certain that his bloodline power had yet to awaken. Every time he cultivated the ancestral dragon's secret skill, the dragon-shaped mark that appeared between his brows was proof. Ling Xiao was also looking forward to how terrifying his bloodline power would be if it was completely awakened. I often go to the Eastern Sea to play. My aunt is very good to me. I know she misses you, so I came to the 8 Desolates region to bring you back to see her. Long Outyin chuckled. The 8 Desolates region and the War God continent are separated by the endless reincarnation ocean. How did you come here? Ling Xiao asked. The underworld ship, Auntie told me about it. The underworld ship in the reincarnation sea appears once a year. My luck is good and I easily found it. Oh right, the underworld ship can only stay for a month. I know where it is. Let's hurry up and leave. Otherwise, we will have to wait until next year. Long Outyin said arrogantly. When he mentioned the underworld ship, he suddenly clapped his hands in realization. You actually found the underworld ship? That's great. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with surprise. He originally planned to search for the underworld ship after leaving the 8 Desolates region. He didn't expect Long Outyin to come here on the underworld ship. Ling Xiao did a rough calculation. The underworld ship should stay for more than 10 days. But just in case, Ling Xiao decided to leave earlier. You can play by yourself. After I settle the matters of the Changsun sect, we will leave. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao didn't hesitate. It was too late to teach the Changsun sect martial arts. Before that, Ling Xiao had to strengthen the longevity god sealing array and leave behind some powerful methods. After all, Ling Xiao didn't know when he would return. Although the Changsun sect had great potential, they didn't have enough high-end combat strength. This time, Ling Xiao planned to bring Xuewei and Phoenix Lady along. Xuewei's 9 nether bloodline and Phoenix Lady's black phoenix body could only shine on the War God continent. Although Xuewei was currently cultivating the 9 nether scripture, she still needed to find the complete 9 nether scripture. Other than Xuewei and Phoenix Lady, Moon Goddess was also going to the War God continent. Adding Ling Xiao, Old Goat, and Long Outyin, there were 6 of them. The cultivation of the others was too weak, so staying in the 8 Desolates region to cultivate was the best choice. Ji Feishuan's face appeared in Ling Xiao's mind, but he still shook his head. As the sect master of the Jade Lake sect, Ji Feishuan should not be willing to leave the 8 Desolation region. After thinking it through, Ling Xiao told Nangong Xian his plan. Although Nangong Xian was worried, when he saw that Long Outyin was able to safely enter the 8 Desolates region through the underworld ship, the worry in his heart dissipated. In the end, Ling Xiao came to the forbidden area in the back mountain. He was prepared to use the Tree of Path Understanding as the foundation to complete the immortal God sealing array. The forbidden area in the back mountain was enshrouded in dense spiritual mist. Exotic flowers and herbs bloomed, and a mysterious aura permeated the air, raising one's spirit. Nangong Xian had already planted the 100 or so king herbs that Ling Xiao gave him in the forbidden area. Under the miraculous effects of the Path Understanding tree, these king herbs, like the immortal peach tree, would rapidly grow. In the future, it would not be impossible for them to transform into supreme saint herbs. Ling Xiao also took out the longevity fruit tree and planted it beside the Path Understanding tree. The longevity fruit tree was also a natural spiritual root. It was slightly inferior to the Path Understanding tree, but it was enough to protect a sacred ground and gather the power of destiny. Although Ling Xiao had plucked all the longevity fruit, as long as there was enough time, the longevity fruit tree would bloom and bear fruit, growing new longevity fruit. Croak, croak, croak. The croaking of a toad came from the Path Understanding tree. It was a red toad. Its entire body was as resplendent as jade, and its eyes were very lively. It looked at Ling Xiao with a hint of flattery. It's already become a 6th rank Yao? A trace of shock appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. This toad was the 1,000-year vermilion toad that Ling Xiao had obtained before. Because its strength was too weak, he had always placed it on the path understanding tree and allowed it to cultivate on its own. Ling Xiao also did not expect this vermilion toad's cultivation to rise so quickly. It had already reached the level of a 6th rank Yao. The path understanding tree seems to be somewhat different after its rebirth. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The path understanding tree now looked dazzling. Although the branches and leaves were sparse, they were sparkling like jade. Moreover, there was an aura that calmed one's mind, as if one could fall into a state of Tao comprehension at any time. Cousin, there are actually so many spiritual roots of heaven and earth here? Long Outyin had slipped in at some point. As soon as he saw the path understanding tree, longevity fruit tree, and immortal peach tree, he drooled, his eyes shining. Ling Xiao jumped in fright and hurriedly pulled Long Outyin back. Don't move. These spiritual roots are still in their infancy. I'll give you a peach of immortality. Ling Xiao could do nothing about this brat. He could only take out a golden peach of immortality and give it to Long Outyin. Zing. Cousin, I want to eat the longevity fruit. Long Outyin ate the peach of immortality in 2 or 3 bites. With a look of dissatisfaction, he set his eyes on the longevity fruit. As the 9th prince of the Crystal Palace, a spiritual root like the immortal peach tree only produced king medicines. Long Outyin had eaten quite a few before, so he naturally looked down on it. And a supreme holy medicine like the longevity fruit, even the Crystal Palace did not have many. It naturally made Long Outyin very envious. Don't mess around. The longevity fruit tree hasn't borne fruit yet. Ling Xiao wanted to fool him. Cousin, don't lie to me. This longevity fruit was clearly just plucked by you. Look at this branch, there are still signs of it being broken. Long Outyin was very crafty. His eyes darted around and very quickly found some clues. Ling Xiao had no choice but to give Long Outyin a longevity fruit. Thank you, cousin. You're too good to me. When we return to the War God continent, if Royal Father doesn't let Ant go, I'll help you beat him up. Long Outyin beamed with joy, hugging the longevity fruit and drooling. I know. You step back first. I'm going to set up the formation. Ling Xiao said helplessly. After Long Outyin left the back mountain, Ling Xiao began to mobilize the power of the longevity mountain and began to set up the longevity god sealing array again. Rumble. The longevity mountain began to buzz and tremble, emitting a resplendent multicolored light. Runes burst out from the mountain, emitting a vast and mysterious power. The epiphany tree swayed with the wind, incomparably agile. Each leaf was like a resplendent ancient character, interweaving with each other. A gorgeous light enveloped the entire longevity mountain. Chapter 434. Ling Xiao stood in the forbidden area at the back of the mountain, surrounded by a ball of bright light. From all directions of the longevity mountain, countless mysterious auras intertwined like divine chains of order. And the core was the epiphany tree. Ling Xiao's primordial spirit had reached the pinnacle of the noble realm, and he could mobilize the supreme Tao marks engraved in the longevity mountain. 10,000 years ago, many supreme beings comprehended the Tao here, and they left behind precious supreme Tao marks, which made the longevity mountain indestructible. These supreme Tao marks were the source of power for the longevity god sealing array. Ling Xiao was going to mobilize the power of the supreme Tao marks and integrate it into the array. The epiphany tree was a natural spiritual root, and as the eye of the longevity god sealing array, it could fully unleash the power of the supreme Tao marks. Rumble. The longevity mountain trembled, and strands of auras intertwined. Rays of divine light rose, and it was like a flying immortal, emitting a brilliant light. Above the longevity mountain, the divine light was boundless, and it was as if there were powerful figures rising into the sky, and they all turned into ancient runes. The power of the longevity god sealing array is increasing. Nangong Xian, who was in the longevity hall, was pleasantly surprised. The original longevity god sealing array already had the power to resist a noble realm cultivator. And now that Ling Xiao had strengthened it, how terrifying would it be? This time, Ling Xiao went all out, using the sky-devouring secret technique to mobilize the power of heaven and earth, and the epiphany tree to mobilize the supreme Tao marks. The entire Longevity Mountain was covered by runes, and it became more and more dazzling. There was also purple lightning, and endless sword chi, which made the Longevity Mountain more and more peaceful. Endless essence of heaven and earth surged toward the Longevity Mountain from thousands of miles away, and the spiritual chi in the Longevity Mountain became 10 times, 100 times denser. Just like that, Ling Xiao spent a total of 10 days to complete the Longevity God Sealing Grand Array. A vast and terrifying power spread out like the might of the heavens. It was unfathomable, causing the depths of everyone's soul to palpitate indescribably. Ling Xiao took the vermilion toad away. In the past few days, Ling Xiao had discovered that under the effects of the Epiphany tree, the bloodline of the 1,000-year-old Scarlet Toad was showing signs of atavism. It was about to become the legendary Scarlet Toad King. The Vermilion Toad King was also a type of archaic divine beast, and was incomparably powerful. Most importantly, it could search for treasures and geomancy in the heavens, as well as seek fortune and avoid calamities. It was incomparably mysterious. If this 1,000-year-old vermilion toad could really communicate with it, and transform into a vermilion toad king, then Ling Xiao would have profited greatly. Ling Xiao left the Forbidden Grounds and met with Nangong Xian, the Great Elder, the elders of the Changsun sect, and the many true disciples in the Changsun Hall. They all knew that Ling Xiao was leaving and came to send him off at the same time. Sect leader, if a noble plane cultivator dares to break into the Immortality God Sealing formation, they will definitely die. Even an Emperor Realm cultivator can't break it. If you have any urgent matters in the future, you can take this token to the Jade Lake sect and look for the Jade Lake King, Ji Feishuan. Ling Xiao smiled and handed a token to Nangong Xian with the words Xian King engraved on it. This token was given to Ling Xiao by Ji Feishuan. She said that she wanted to make Ling Xiao the king of the great Xian ancient kingdom. However, Ling Xiao had no use for it now. Out of respect for Ling Xiao, Ji Feishuan would definitely help the Changsun sect if anything happened. Are you sure you want to leave? Nangong Xian sighed softly. There was worry and reluctance in his eyes, but more than that, there were blessings and expectations. That's right. When I return to the Changsun sect, it will be the time when the Changsun sect will truly reign over the War God continent. Ling Xiao smiled faintly with a trace of sharpness in his eyes. Good. Ha ha ha. The fact that our Changsun sect has a saint is because of the patriarch's spirit. The heavens are protecting us. I also believe that there will be a day when our Changsun sect regains its glory. The first elder laughed as well, his eyes filled with anticipation. Fellow elders, junior brothers and sisters, after I leave, the Changsun sect will depend on you all. I hope that the next time I see you all, you will shine brightly and become the pillars of our Changsun sect. Ling Zhao's gaze swept across Deng Tianda, Deng Yalan, Jian Wuk, Zuozhen and the others. Finally, it landed on Nangong Qing. He was slightly startled and sighed in his heart. Don't worry, Saint. With the resources left behind by you, our Changsun sect will rise rapidly and dominate the 8 Desolates region. Saint, we will go to the 8 Desolates region to find you. Saint, we swear to protect the Changsun sect with our lives. The eyes of the elders and disciples were filled with excitement, reluctance and adoration. Ling Xiao had become the guardian god in the hearts of the Changsun sect's disciples. They were filled with fanatical worship for Ling Xiao. Everyone take care. Ling Xiao cupped his fists with a smile, and turned to leave the Changsun palace. At the peak of the Changsun mountain, Shuewei, Yueshan Phoenix Lady, Old Goat and Long Outyan were waiting. A void warship floated in the air, emitting powerful and mysterious energy waves. Ling Xiao and the others boarded the void warship and instantly turned into a ray of light, disappearing into the clouds. At the peak of the Changsun mountain, clouds swirled around. The statues of Sky-Devouring Supreme and Changsun Supreme stood on the square, looking into the distance, emitting an unparalleled aura. A girl in a white dress looked in the direction where Ling Xiao had left. The mountain breeze blew her hair and her clothes fluttered, making her look like a fairy. She was in a daze. After a long while, she let out a soft sigh. Ling Xiao is a divine dragon. The 8 Desolates region is just a small puddle. It can't keep him. His journey is to the War God continent. The wind is strong here. She didn't know when Nangongxian had appeared beside her and sighed softly. Nangongqing was his daughter. How could he not know what Nangongqing was thinking? Father, I know. So I won't be a burden to him. I'll catch up to him. One day, I'll go to the war god continent too. Nangongqing smiled. She was so beautiful, and there was a glimmer of light in her eyes. Qing, why do you have to do this? Nangongxian smiled bitterly. Father, I'm going into seclusion. This time, I won't come out until I reach the heaven realm. Nangongqing smiled at Nangongxian. She turned and left with her sword on her back. Her beautiful figure gradually elongated under the sunlight, and a vast sword intent gradually condensed. Ling Xiao and the others steered the void warship and sped towards the south. This void warship was called the Green Netherworld Warship. It was a superior-grade Dao artifact that Ling Xiao had plundered from the Ninth Saint's storage ring. The Green Netherworld Warship traveled 100,000 miles in a day. It was extremely fast, carrying Ling Xiao across millions of miles of mountains and rivers in the Eight Desolates region. Endless mountains and vast plains were behind them. The sky was high, the clouds were light, and the sun was shining brightly. The surrounding wind was strong, and there was a sense of transcendence. After flying for a day and a night, a dense forest appeared below them. Ancient trees towered into the sky, and old vines surrounded them. It stretched as far as the eye could see. The air gradually became moist, and a salty sea breeze blew over, bringing with it a certain gentle aura. Cousin, that's the reincarnation sea. Long Outyan's eyes lit up as he pointed ahead. Chapter 435. Rumble. In the south, a black sea appeared before Ling Xiao's eyes. The waves surged, sweeping across the sky. It was magnificent and majestic. A mysterious and strange aura pervaded the air. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered as if he could see the vicissitudes of the world. Is this the sea of reincarnation? Ling Xiao whispered to himself. Legend has it that the sea of reincarnation was formed by the great calamity 10,000 years ago. The river of the underworld flowed in reverse, forming the sea of reincarnation. The netherworld ship also came from the underworld. Cousin, the sea of reincarnation is very strange. I encountered many dangers on my way here. Fortunately, I, Long Outyan, am blessed by the heavens and earth. That's why I can turn misfortune into fortune. Long Outyan looked at the sea of reincarnation. The fearless Long Outyan had a trace of fear in his eyes. Is that the netherworld ship? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he saw a black ancient ship anchored by the shore. It looked very ordinary, but it emitted a terrifying aura that made people feel cold all over with a single glance. That's right. Cousin, this netherworld ship is very strange. As long as we don't touch anything on the ship and stay in the cabin, we can reach the war god continent in 2 to 3 months. Long Outyan said. Let's go take a look. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered. He controlled the green netherworld ship to descend from the void and stopped by the shore. The water of the sea of reincarnation was black. The waves hit the shore. The strange thing was that there was a desert hundreds of miles away from the shore. Not a single blade of grass grew. It was as if the vitality of the land was sucked away by something. Ling Xiao's sharp senses felt that there was a chaotic energy in the sea of reincarnation that made his scalp tingle. It's the power of time. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of shock. He felt a chaotic power of time from the sea of reincarnation. It was as if 10,000 years had passed in an instant. It could take away all life and vitality. Strange. The power of time is a power that even the gods in the legends find difficult to control. How could it have materialized into such a vast ocean? The old goat was also a little scared. It felt uncomfortable standing by the shore of the sea of reincarnation. Legend has it that in the reincarnation sea, there are only strange reincarnation beasts. Other than that, there are no other living creatures. Let me give it a try. Moon God's eyes flashed. She took out a spirit rabbit. It looked like a rank 3 beast. It turned into a beam of light and flew into the reincarnation sea. The rabbit was originally very quiet, but when it was about to fall into the reincarnation sea, its fur suddenly stood on end. Its eyes were filled with incomparable terror as it began to scream. Bang! The rabbit fell into the black seawater, stirring up waves. Everyone looked over and instantly sucked in a breath of cold air. After the rabbit fell into the sea, it quickly aged. Its fur grew and fell off like crazy. It was as if time had sped up by 100 or 1,000 times. In an instant, the rabbit's lifespan dried up, and it slowly disappeared into the sea. This, Phoenix Maiden and Shuewei opened their mouths wide in disbelief. Ling Xiao and the old goat looked at each other and felt a chill run down their backs. Their eyes were filled with solemnity. No wonder it was said that even supreme beings did not dare to step into the reincarnation sea. The reincarnation sea was filled with the chaotic power of time. Supreme beings only had a lifespan of 10,000 years. They would not be able to last long, and would end up like that rabbit. Cousin, as long as we stay in the underworld ship and don't touch the reincarnation sea, it will affect us. Long Outyan's face was pale from fright. His eyes were wide open as he licked his lips and said, "It was too strange." Buzz. At this moment, the underworld ship suddenly trembled. A faint black light spread out. The door of the cabin suddenly opened, and a gust of cold wind blew in. "Young master, could it be a ghost?" Shuewei and the others jumped in fright. Their faces were pale as they held onto Ling Xiao's arm tightly. Their bodies were a little cold when the cold wind blew. "Shuewei, don't be afraid. I want to see the origin of this underworld ship. Let's get on the ship first." Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of light as he patted Shuewei's arm and comforted her. Although the reincarnation sea was strange and gave Ling Xiao a feeling of extreme danger, the underworld ship gave off a very strange feeling. Ling Xiao did not feel any danger. In the end, he decided to board the ship. Since Long Outyan was able to ride the underworld ship, there should not be any danger. Moreover, the underworld ship was trembling. Moreover, there was a black light spreading out as if it was about to set sail. If they did not board the ship now, they might miss it. That's right. This emperor wants to see what kind of demon dares to behave so atrociously. The old goat also gathered his courage and said, "Let's go." Ling Xiao pulled Shuewei and walked at the front. The moon goddess and Phoenix Maiden walked in the middle. Long Outyan pulled the old goat's tail and walked at the back. They stepped on the soft sand and slowly boarded the underworld ship. The surroundings were very quiet. It was as if the sound of the waves could not be heard. Only the squeaking of the sand could be heard, causing people's hair to stand on end. Only when Ling Xiao and the rest boarded the underworld ship and entered the cabin did everyone let out a sigh of relief. The cabin was not as dark as they imagined. There were a few tables and chairs. Moreover, there was a burning lamp that brightly lit the cabin. However, the lamp seemed to be a bit green, causing the cabin to have a strange atmosphere. "You scared this emperor to death. Like I said, this place is very clean." The old goat let out a sigh of relief. However, his eyes widened and suddenly quivered. All the hair on his body stood up. The old goat felt that his tail was grabbed by someone. "Long Outyan, can you and that bastard not pull my tail?" The old goat said in a flustered and exasperated manner. "I did not grab your tail." Long Outyan innocently stretched out his hands. Suddenly, the old goat and Long Outyan felt a chill. As if they thought of something, they shouted at the same time and suddenly hugged each other. "Ghost!" A sharp voice sounded. In this strange atmosphere, it caused people's scalps to tingle. The old goat and Long Outyan walked at the back. If it was not Long Outyan who grabbed the old goat's tail, then who was it? "There is no ghost. Don't bark, it's the cabin door that caught your tail." Ling Xiao was also shocked by these two clowns. He quickly walked over to check and helplessly said. It turned out that the cabin door had silently closed without anyone noticing. It happened to catch the old goat's tail. Chapter 436. Little brat, what are you yelling about? Even if there is a ghost, I will turn it into ashes. The old goat glared at Long Outyan. What does that have to do with me? You are the one yelling, okay? I, Long Outyan, am blessed by the heavens and earth. I am immune to all evil. What kind of bullshit ghost is this? Come out and show me. Long Outyan said, unwilling to be outdone. Alright, stop fooling around, you two. Go and check the underworld ship. We will be spending the next few months on this ship. Let's get to the bottom of this ship first. Ling Xiao said helplessly. At this moment, the underworld ship buzzed and the water outside swayed. The underworld ship had set sail. Ling Xiao, there is a room here. While Ling Xiao was in a daze, the Phoenix Maiden and the Moon Goddess voices came. Ling Xiao did not have time to think about why the underworld ship had set sail. He hurriedly walked over with the old goat and Long Outyin. The underworld ship was not big. It only had 2 floors. The cabin was very spacious. Other than some tables and chairs, there was nothing else. The Moon Goddess and the Phoenix Maiden found a room at the bottom of the cabin. It looked very hidden, which aroused everyone's curiosity. I know this room. I saw it when I came. There is nothing inside, Long Outyin said as he followed Ling Xiao. However, when they reached the room, Long Outyin was stunned. His eyes revealed a trace of shock. That's not right. When I came, there was nothing. Why is there an extra thing? Long Outyin's voice was trembling. This was because there was a black coffin in the room. The coffin looked to be 3 feet long and 1 foot wide. There were many mysterious patterns on it. It was like the scene of the ancient people worshipping the gods. There were also many unintelligible scribbles. Are you sure this black coffin was not here when you came? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. I am sure. When I came, I checked the underworld ship. There is nothing here. It is very peaceful, Long Outyin said. The sudden appearance of the black coffin made him somewhat incredulous. But this black coffin grew together with the underworld ship. If I am not wrong, the underworld ship is made of 1,000,000-year-old Een soul wood. This black coffin is also made of 1,000,000-year-old Een soul wood. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of shock. What? 1,000,000-year-old Een soul wood? A 10,000-year-old Een soul wood can be used as a divine material to refine a supreme weapon. And you say that this is 1,000,000-year-old Een soul wood? The old goat exclaimed, his eyes filled with disbelief. The Een soul wood was incomparably precious. It was a top-notch Een attribute treasure. It was very rare to find a 1,000-year-old Een soul wood, let alone a 10,000-year-old Een soul wood. It was a supreme treasure for refining supreme weapons. But Ling Xiao actually said that this netherworld ship was made from 1,000,000-year-old Een soul wood. This was too unbelievable. That's right. I once saw a thumb-sized piece of Een soul wood. It was at the 1,000,000-year level and had the miraculous effect of bringing the dead back to life. Since the netherworld ship is 1,000,000-year-old Een soul wood, then it really might have come from the legendary netherworld. Ling Xiao slowly said. He was even more shocked by the origins of the netherworld ship and the reincarnation sea. Using 1,000,000-year-old Een soul wood as a coffin, I'm afraid even the gods don't have the qualifications to do so, right? Who is the person in the black coffin? The old goat's hair stood on end as he slowly said, Cousin, I think we should leave first. When I came, this black coffin was clearly not here. This is simply too strange. Long Outyin tightly grabbed the old goat's tail and wanted to leave the room. All right, let's go. Ling Xiao also nodded, and everyone carefully left the room. Little brat, contribute some of your dragon blood. The old goat looked at Long Outyin and said. Long Outyin's eyes immediately revealed a vigilant look and asked, What are you planning to do? You are the legendary true dragon. The blood of a true dragon is invulnerable to all evil. It is strong and masculine. I'll use your blood to draw talismans and seal this room. This will prevent any unclean things from coming out of the black coffin to cause trouble. The old goat mischievously laughed. Why not use your blood? I feel that your blood is more useful than mine. Long Outyin somewhat unhappily said. How can my blood be more powerful than a true dragon's blood? Whether or not we can safely reach the war god continent will depend on you. Under the old goat's flattery, Long Outyin also felt a little smug. Finally, he heroically said, All right, how much do you want? Let's start with 300 to 500 Gene. The old goat shamelessly said. Bastard, I don't think you want to draw talismans. You want my true dragon blood, right? I'll strangle you to death. Don't speak nonsense. The existence in the black coffin is very powerful. Without 300 to 500 Gene of true dragon blood, it is impossible to suppress it. In the end, the old goat and Long Outyin compromised. Long Outyin released 10 Gene of true dragon blood and supervised the old goat to draw some tadpole-like runes on the door. However, it was strange. After the old goat drew the talismans, everyone's uneasy feeling dissipated. This cabin is a little strange. Let's go to the second floor, Ling Xiao slowly said. After entering the netherworld ship, Ling Xiao actually felt a sense of uncontrollability. It was as if something was wrong, but he couldn't put his finger on it. On the second floor of the netherworld ship, other than a canopy, there was nothing to block the view of the vast reincarnation ocean. At this moment, the sky was high and the sun was shining brightly. The netherworld ship left the 8 Desolaces region. It didn't seem to be very fast, but it didn't take long for the 8 Desolaces region to disappear. The vast seawater all around looked calm. Under the illumination of the sun, there was a strange light. It seems like the reincarnation ocean is still calm. We have caught up with the right time. The old goat lazily lay on the deck, enjoying the sea breeze and the sun. From time to time he would take out a spirit fruit to eat. He looked very satisfied. At the same time, the old goat felt a little heartache. The entire netherworld ship was made of million-year-old spirit wood. This was a supreme treasure. However, he could only look at it and couldn't take it away. This made the old goat feel very uncomfortable. The moon god, Phoenix Maiden, and Shuewei were also very curious. This vast sea made them nervous and excited. At the same time, they were looking forward to seeing the war god continent on the other side of the sea. Rumble. But at this moment, dark clouds rolled in the sky. Black lightning streaked across the void, and the world instantly darkened. The originally tranquil reincarnation sea began to surge violently. Vast waves soared high into the sky. Under the impact of the waves, the netherworld ship began to sway in all directions. Not good. Quickly return to the cabin. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He saw that in the center of the distant sea, there was a terrifying storm brewing. Blazing lightning exploded and astral winds rolled. It contained a power that could suppress everything. Chapter 437. It's the reincarnation storm. Long Outyan's eyes revealed a trace of shock. Above the distant sea, dark clouds were rolling and the waves were surging. It was unknown how high it was, but it emitted a vast and mysterious power that covered the sky. That kind of power made one's scalp tingle. The reincarnation storm is extremely terrifying. It will tear everything apart. If the adventurer ships on the reincarnation sea encounter the reincarnation storm, they will be instantly torn to pieces. Fortunately, we are on the netherworld ship. The netherworld ship should be able to withstand the reincarnation storm. Everyone, quickly return to the cabin. Long Outyan yelled. He knew how terrifying the reincarnation storm was. If they were swept away by that power, even sovereigns would be in great danger. Ling Xiao and the rest quickly retreated to the cabin. Not long after, a loud rumbling sound could be heard. It was as if countless waves of seawater were slapping on the netherworld ship. The netherworld ship floated on the waves, but it was extremely stable. Ling Xiao and the rest, who were originally prepared to face the storm, were astonished. The netherworld ship was extremely stable, without any turbulence. Buzz. The netherworld ship began to tremble. Traces of black light spread out, as if it was resisting the terrifying reincarnation storm. The netherworld ship that gave people a strange feeling actually made them feel at ease at this moment. This netherworld ship is really strange. Shuewei blinked her large eyes. There was a trace of black light flickering in her eyes. Young master, I feel that this netherworld ship is very familiar. There is an indescribable feeling. Shuewei looked at Ling Xiao and said, Familiar. Ling Xiao was slightly stunned. His heart couldn't help but tremble. Could it be because of the 9 Nether bloodline? The 9 Nether bloodline was a top-notch martial Dao bloodline. As long as one didn't fall, it could almost be said that one would become a sovereign expert. However, the 9 Nether bloodline was also very mysterious. It was like the 9 Nether sovereign in his previous life, appearing out of thin air. What was the relationship between the 9 Nether bloodline and the netherworld ship? Young master, I feel that the thing inside the black coffin that we saw before is very extraordinary. It seems to be somewhat related to me. Shuewei's small face was a little pale. Her eyes were filled with doubt as she spoke out her intuition. That black coffin? Ling Zhao's gaze shook. Shui Wei's little icy cold little hands, and the 9 nether bloodline in her body had a trace of violent tendencies. Let's go, let's see what's inside the black coffin. Ling Xiao made a prompt decision, and prepared to go to the black coffin to investigate. The old goat immediately stopped Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, don't move recklessly. If there's really a powerful monster in the black coffin, we won't even have a place to escape on the reincarnation sea. That? Heavens. Two. Ling Xiao decided. The old goat and Long Outyin were helpless and did not continue to stop them. Everyone came to the front of the room. That's strange. Where's the Big Dipper earthly fiend ghost-suppressing talisman that I drew? The old goat exclaimed. His eyes were wide open. He used the true dragon's blood in Long Outyin's body to draw the talisman. Now there was nothing on the wooden door of the room. This made his hair stand on end. Ling Zhao's eyes also revealed a trace of sharpness. I want to see what kind of demon is inside the black coffin. Creak. Pushing the door open, the surroundings were incomparably silent. It was dark in front of them. After Phoenix Maiden took out a luminous pearl, the entire room lit up. The black coffin was placed in the center of the room. At this moment, the talismans on it began to emit a faint light. The aura was very cold, making people feel uneasy. Ling Xiao walked around the black coffin, and realized that the coffin lid was only placed on top. It was not nailed shut. All of you move aside. I'm going to open the coffin. Ling Xiao looked at the old goat and the rest and said slowly. Be careful. The old goat could not help but remind him. Ling Xiao smiled and gave the old goat a reassuring look. Then he grabbed one end of the coffin lid and suddenly exploded with unparalleled divine strength. Rumble. Although the lid of the coffin was not nailed shut, it was extremely heavy. With Ling Zhao's current strength, he could even move a small mountain. However, when he unleashed his full strength, he only managed to move the black coffin slowly, revealing what was inside. After the coffin lid was opened, Ling Xiao saw the scene inside the coffin, and was instantly shocked. The old goat and the rest also walked up. When they saw the interior of the coffin, everyone's face was filled with shock. Buzz. Strands of black light dissipated and traces of cold aura filled the air. In the end, Ling Xiao and the rest shuddered and immediately woke up. What's going on? What did you see? Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with disbelief. Then he raised his head and looked at everyone. I saw an ancestral dragon spanning thousands of miles. Its entire body was dazzling with golden light, mysterious and unfathomable. Could it be that the ancestral dragon is buried in this black coffin? Long Outyin's eyes widened. His delicate little face was filled with disbelief. What ancestral dragon? It's clearly a primordial ferocious beast that feeds on true dragons. It's a supreme existence that devours the heavens and earth. The old goat retorted. I saw a true phoenix that swept away the gods of the primordial era. It was immortal. The phoenix girl also said what she saw. I saw a person, a peerless beauty. With a wave of her hand, the stars in the sky shook and countless heavenly demon kings turned into ashes. The moon god's eyes revealed a strange look. Everyone looked at each other, and could see the shock in each other's eyes. Everyone saw a different scene inside the black coffin. This black coffin was too strange. What did you see? The old goat looked at Ling Xiao and could not help but ask. I saw myself. Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a glimmer of light. He saw that the person lying in the black coffin was a supreme expert that was worshipped by all living beings. He had fought in all 9 heavens and 10 lands and swept through all worlds. However, his face was exactly the same as Ling Zhao's. What? Everyone's expression changed as they hurriedly looked inside the black coffin. Chapter 438. This black coffin is too demonic. Perhaps it has some kind of illusory power that tricked all of us. Ling Xiao, you should quickly lock it up. The old goat shuddered as he recalled the illusory demonic ancient tree in the longevity secret realm. Perhaps this black coffin was like the illusory demonic ancient tree, possessing some kind of illusory power. No, where did Shuiwei go? Ling Zhao's entire body shook as his eyes revealed a trace of anxiety. He discovered that Shuiwei had disappeared. The room was brightly lit under the illumination of the night pearl, but Shuiwei had disappeared. Did Shuiwei come down with us? Where did she go? Everyone felt a chill run down their backs. This feeling that was beyond their imagination and control was too unbearable. It was as if there was some kind of terrifying existence staring at them from the unseen world. Its eyes filled with hatred and coldness. I'll go up and take a look. The moon goddess left the room and went up to the cabin to look for Shuiwei. In the end, she searched everywhere but still couldn't find Shuiwei's whereabouts. It's because of this black coffin. Return Shuiwei to me. Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. His entire body exuded an unparalleled power as he suddenly punched the black coffin. Ling Zhao's blood qi was vast and powerful. It was like a golden lightning bolt streaking across the sky, wanting to shatter the black coffin with one punch. But the strange thing was that when Ling Zhao's fist landed on the black coffin, there was no sound at all. The unparalleled power seemed to have been neutralized by the black coffin. Young master, what are you doing? Shuiwei's voice suddenly came from the black coffin. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He didn't know when Shuiwei had run into the black coffin. At this moment, she stood up and looked at Ling Zhao with some confusion. Shuiwei, when did you run into the coffin? Come out quickly. Ling Zhao shook his head and realized that his eyes weren't playing tricks on him. It was indeed Shuiwei standing in the black coffin. He immediately spoke sternly. Young master, didn't you let me in? Also, you made me memorize these scribbles. Shuiwei felt a little wronged, but she still obediently walked out of the black coffin. I let you in? When did I let you in? Ling Zhao's body shook as he suddenly looked inside the black coffin. There were no other strange scenes. There were only a few dozen ancient black words recorded inside the black coffin, looking extremely mysterious. Just a glance at them made Ling Zhao's head was dizzy. Wang. Suddenly, the wordless heavenly book trembled slightly. Ling Zhao's sea of consciousness was filled with a cool aura. His mind instantly became extremely clear, and the dozens of ancient black characters were clearly imprinted in Ling Zhao's sea of consciousness. A total of 81 ancient characters appeared on the wordless heavenly book, emitting a black glow. It looked a little strange. Could it be that those illusions earlier were all created by these 81 ancient characters? These 81 ancient characters were able to attract the attention of the wordless heavenly book. Could it be a powerful secret technique? Ling Zhao's eyes flickered. He was extremely shocked. At this moment, he could clearly see that apart from the 81 ancient characters, there was nothing else in the black coffin. Moreover, after Ling Zhao memorized those ancient words, all 81 ancient words disappeared. It was extremely strange. Shuiwei, are you alright? Ling Zhao asked Shuiwei worriedly. Earlier, he was intimidated by the mysterious power of the black coffin, and actually did not notice when Shuiwei entered the black coffin. Young master, I'm fine. I'm just a little dizzy. Shuiwei's small face became increasingly pale. She smiled at Ling Zhao and then fainted. Shuiwei. Ling Zhao's heart clenched. He hurriedly carried Shuiwei, ignoring the strangeness of the black coffin, and went straight into the cabin of the ship. Shuiwei's forehead was boiling hot. The blood in her body seemed to be boiling. There was a strange energy that exploded, emitting an extremely hot aura. Furthermore, Ling Zhao could feel that the cultivation in Shuiwei's body was being rapidly devoured by the blood. It was as though she was thirsting for the energy of heaven and earth. This is the fluctuation of the 9 nether blood meridians awakening? Ling Zhao was shocked. Shuiwei's 9 nether blood meridians had already awakened once in the Changshan sect. At that time, Ling Zhao thought that the power of Shuiwei's blood meridians had completely exploded. However, he did not expect that because of the 81 ancient characters, Shuiwei's 9 nether blood meridians would actually explode once again. Unlike the eruption of 9 nether cold qi last time, Shuiwei was surrounded by black flames this time. Her entire body began to emit a mysterious and scorching aura. Ling Zhao hurriedly took out 1 million spirit crystals and set up a simple spirit gathering array around Shuiwei. Boom. Before Ling Zhao could finish setting up the spirit gathering array, the 1 million spirit crystals exploded at the same time. They turned into a spiritual energy storm and swarmed toward Shuiwei's pores. Furthermore, Ling Xiao could feel that Shuiwei's cultivation was increasing rapidly. In less than 15 minutes, the 1 million spirit crystals were used up. Ling Xiao took out another 5 million spirit crystals. The 5 million spirit crystals exploded and turned into a spiritual energy storm, which was absorbed by Shuiwei. A mysterious energy seemed to be awakening in her blood meridians. It was vast and mysterious. Just like that, Ling Xiao took out a total of 50 million spirit crystals. Only then did Shuiwei's aura gradually calm down. A black flame enveloped Shuiwei. Ling Xiao could feel that Shuiwei's aura was very stable. Furthermore, it was gradually becoming stronger. Only then did he slowly relax. 9 Nether Bloodline? I've never heard of a second awakening of the 9 Nether Bloodline. Where did this little girl come from? The old goat's gaze was also solemn. He walked around Shuiwei and muttered to himself. The moon goddess and phoenix maiden were also very shocked. In such a short time, Shuiwei's cultivation had broken through the Grandmaster realm. Moreover, it was climbing towards the celestial realm at a speed visible to the naked eye. Boom! After a few hours, Shuiwei's cultivation had completely reached the first level of the celestial realm. Her aura gradually calmed down. However, there was still a black flame enveloping her. She was undergoing a mysterious transformation. Everyone stay in the cabin. Don't wander around. Although the underworld ship is very strange, there shouldn't be any danger. We'll definitely reach the God of War continent safely. Ling Xiao said slowly. That's right. Once the reincarnation storm passes, we'll reach the God of War continent in less than 3 months. Perhaps feeling that everyone's nerves were tense, Long Outyin smiled and comforted them. In the following time, Ling Xiao guarded the Phoenix Maiden while consolidating his cultivation. At the same time, he comprehended several secret techniques. Currently, Ling Xiao had obtained a total of 4 secret techniques from the Wordless Heavenly Book. The Sky-Devouring Secret Technique, the Ancestral Dragon Secret Technique, the Teleportation Secret Technique, and the True Phoenix Secret Technique. Among them, Ling Xiao had made some progress in cultivating the Sky-Devouring Secret Technique and the Ancestral Dragon Secret Technique. Only the Teleportation Secret Technique and the True Phoenix Secret Technique were still superficial. He needed to calm down and comprehend them. The more Ling Xiao cultivated, the more he felt the power of the secret techniques recorded in the Wordless Heavenly Book. Although they weren't as domineering as the Supreme Sutra in the beginning, they contain the principles of heaven and earth and endless mysteries. Chapter 439. Shuiwei was shrouded in black flames, and her aura was mysterious. Strands of black light intertwined, forming mysterious ancient runes. Ling Xiao comprehended the secret techniques while protecting Shuiwei. The Samsara storm lasted for more than a month, and the underworld ship also drifted on the Samsara Sea for more than a month. Now the sea was vast, and Ling Xiao didn't know where he was. He just hoped that the underworld ship would reach the shore as soon as possible and reach the War God continent. Cousin, the Crystal Palace rejects the human race. If you follow me back to the Crystal Palace like this, it will be difficult to save Aunt. If you can awaken the true dragon bloodline in your body, you will be considered a member of the dragon race. Then it will be much easier for father to accept you. After staying on the Netherworld ship for a month, Long Outyin was about to go crazy. Suddenly, he thought of something and said to Ling Xiao, "The true dragon bloodline in my body. I can feel that the power of the bloodline in my body is extraordinary, but there seems to be a layer of bloodline shackles that prevents me from awakening the power of the bloodline. Perhaps when my cultivation is higher, I will be able to break through that layer of shackles." Bloodline shackle? Long Outyin was a little surprised. The children of the human race and dragon race usually have very weak true dragon bloodline, and it is easy to awaken it. However, I can feel that the power in your body is very terrifying. Once it is awakened, it will be extraordinary. Even Long Outyin didn't understand why it was so difficult to awaken the true dragon bloodline in Ling Xiao's body. No matter how powerful it is, it can't be compared to you. To have such terrifying physical strength at the age of 5, your bloodline should have reached the true dragon level, right? Ling Xiao looked at Long Outyin and said. Just like the ancestral dragon secret technique that Ling Xiao cultivated, the dragon race's bloodline was also divided into Flood Dragon bloodline, Earth Dragon bloodline, Flying Dragon bloodline, Sky Dragon bloodline, True Dragon bloodline, Divine Dragon bloodline, and Ancestral Dragon bloodline. Generally speaking, when the dragon race was born, their bloodline was already fixed. If they wanted to increase the level of their bloodline through hard work, they would have to encounter heaven-defying treasures, or they could transform from a mortal to a god. The evolution of life would also allow their bloodline to evolve. However, from what Ling Xiao understood, the strongest dragon king in the Crystal Palace, Long Outyin's father, was merely a true dragon bloodline expert. Only those with the bloodline of the true dragon could inherit the position of dragon king. The reason why Long Outyin was so monstrous was because he was born with the bloodline of the true dragon. His future was limitless. Hee, I Long Outyin have been blessed by the heavens. My talent is peerless. How can an ordinary person compare to me? In the entire Crystal Palace, only Father and I have the bloodline of the true dragon. However, I have high hopes for you. If you can awaken the bloodline of the true dragon, Father will definitely let Aunt go on account of you. Long Outyin said arrogantly. Ling Xiao nodded and said, You're right, this is a good idea. Ling Xiao has the ancestral dragon secret skill. When he cultivates to the true dragon body, he will naturally possess the true dragon bloodline. At that time, even that cheap uncle of his will have to give him some face. Roar. At this moment, a clear dragon's roar rang out. The black flames that had enveloped Shui Wei actually revolved in the air before turning into a black dragon and fusing into Shui Wei's forehead. Boom. A terrifying aura emanated from Shui Wei's body, causing the entire underworld ship to tremble. Then an endless amount of black light gushed out and surged into Shui Wei's body. A black mark appeared between Shui Wei's eyebrows. It looked very mysterious. It was like a vast starry sky that contained an endless amount of dark energy. What? Ling Zhao's eyes widened. At this moment, the aura emanating from Shui Wei's body made him feel extreme danger. Strange, this is too strange. Shui Wei clearly possesses the 9 nether bloodline. Now she has awakened another bloodline. How can a person possess the power of 2 bloodlines? The old goat ran over, his eyes filled with disbelief. One is the 9 nether bloodline. The other seems to be the bloodline of the dragon clan. However, it's a black dragon. Black dragon. Ling Zhao's gaze turned serious as well. At this moment, the black light surged into Shui Wei's body. Shui Wei slowly opened her eyes. Young master, what's going on? Shui Wei's eyes were filled with confusion. Ling Xiao carefully examined Shui Wei's bloodline. He found that there was indeed another mysterious power aside from the 9 nether bloodline. Moreover, the two had merged together without any signs of conflict. Ling Xiao breathed a sigh of relief and comforted her. Don't worry. Your 9 nether bloodline has awakened again. Look at your current cultivation base. Shui Wei felt her cultivation base at the first layer of the sky human realm and opened her mouth wide in shock. She felt as if she had fallen asleep. When she woke up, her cultivation base had risen from the dragon tiger realm to the first layer of the sky human realm. This terrifying speed made Ling Xiao feel inferior. I've actually reached the first layer of the sky human realm? That's great. I won't be a burden to young master anymore. I can protect young master now. Shui Wei smiled like a flower. Her big eyes were filled with surprise. Her long eyelashes fluttered, making her look very cute. That's right. Our Shui Wei is really amazing. Ling Xiao dotingly patted Shui Wei's little head. Phoenix Maiden suddenly ran in from the second deck. Her eyes revealed a trace of seriousness as she said, Ling Xiao, something happened. What happened? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The underworld ship stopped. Ling Xiao, Old Goat, and the others trembled. The underworld ship seemed to have some special mission. From the 8 Desolates region to the War God continent, it would only stop for a month. On the Reincarnation Sea, it would not stop at all. Ling Xiao quickly went to the second deck. The reincarnation storm had already disappeared. The sky was high and the clouds were light. The sun shone brightly, and the air was very humid. However, the underworld ship stopped at the center of the reincarnation sea, motionless. It shouldn't be. The underworld ship has never stopped at the reincarnation sea. What's going on? Long Outyin was also very puzzled. Could it be? Old Goat and Ling Xiao looked at each other. Shuewei had just awakened a second mysterious power, and caused the underworld ship to shake. Could it be because of Shuewei? Ling Xiao, look over there. There's a huge ship over there. Moon Goddess's eyes lit up. She suddenly saw a jet-black ship in front of the underworld ship. It was emitting a faint light as it rode the wind and broke through the waves. We're saved. That huge ship must be an adventurer ship on the reincarnation sea. Those who own such adventurer ships are all great powers and great clans. They often come to the reincarnation sea to explore and search for treasures. As long as we board the ship, we can safely return to the War God continent. Chapter 440. Although the reincarnation sea was terrifying and filled with life, even powerful treasures and Dao tools would be corroded into scrap metal when they came into contact with the reincarnation sea. However, there were some powerful forces that used special heavenly treasures to refine huge ships and set up powerful restriction formations. They would often explore the reincarnation sea in search of treasures. Although the reincarnation sea was a forbidden area, it was rumored that there were caves left behind by powerful experts and even precious heavenly treasures. To be able to withstand the terrifying reincarnation power of the reincarnation sea, the treasures left behind were all top-grade heavenly treasures. Moreover, there were many islands in the reincarnation sea. There were precious spiritual herbs and treasures on them, which made many people scramble for them. This netherworld ship is too strange. It actually stopped here. Fortunately, there is always a way out. Let's quickly send a signal to that adventurer ship. Long Outyin was very excited. After more than a month of fear, he had really had enough. He didn't want to stay on the netherworld ship for a moment longer. Rumble! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. A resplendent divine light soared into the sky from his hand and exploded in the void. It was dazzling and resplendent, emitting a deafening sound. After the adventurer ship saw the signal, it slowly approached. The black adventurer ship was like a small moving mountain. One could see many people on it. The leader was a middle-aged man wearing a black robe. He looked very kind, but his aura was very strong. He was already a noble realm expert. The adventurer ship stopped 3,000 feet away from the netherworld ship. Although the black-robed middle-aged man was very kind, his eyes were filled with vigilance and shock. Who are you people? The middle-aged man slowly asked. Uncle, we are also people who came to the reincarnation sea to explore. However, we encountered a reincarnation storm, and the adventurer ship we were on was torn apart. We accidentally encountered the netherworld ship and luckily escaped with our lives. We hope that Uncle can bring us back to the War God continent. We will definitely repay you generously. Long Outyin stood out and pretended to be pitiful. His delicate appearance was enough to make anyone's heart soften a little. The vigilance in the black-robed middle-aged man's eyes faded a little. However, he still asked, "Which family are you from? What adventurer ship are you on?" Long Outyin was about to answer when Ling Xiao saw the golden pattern on the black-robed middle-aged man's sleeve. His eyes flashed as he smiled and said, "We are independent cultivators. We don't belong to any sect. We are on the adventurer ship of the Nantian family." The Nantian family started with trade. The golden pattern on the black-robed middle-aged man's sleeve made Ling Xiao guess the origin of the adventurer ship. He was afraid that Long Outyin would spill the beans with him. So it's the guests on the Nantian family's adventure ship. We are the Precious Treasure Pavilion's adventure ship. It's not impossible to board the adventure ship and return to the War God continent, but everyone has to pay 10 pure yang pills or 1 million spirit crystals. The black-robed middle-aged man checked the cultivation of Ling Xiao and the others. The highest cultivation level among them was Phoenix Girl, who was only at the 9th level of the celestial being realm. Ling Xiao had concealed his aura with the sky-devouring secret skill, So he only revealed his cultivation level at the 9th level of the Master Realm. Long Outyin and the old goat could not see through him. Therefore, when he felt that these people were not dangerous, he thought about it and agreed to accept them. Ling Xiao smiled. The black-robed middle-aged man was not a bad person. 1,000,000 spiritual crystals was a fair price. He did not take advantage of the situation. Okay. Open the bounded domain. The black-robed middle-aged man nodded and gave the order. There was a bright bounded domain outside the adventurer ship. It was to prevent the storm in the Samsara Sea. After the bounded domain was opened, Ling Xiao and the others were relieved. They jumped onto the ship. Sir, here are the spiritual crystals for the 6 of us. Ling Xiao handed the black-robed middle-aged man a storage ring with 6,000,000 spiritual crystals in it. The black-robed middle-aged man took it and checked it with his primordial spirit. He nodded and said with a smile, "My name is Han Chao. I am the deacon of the treasure pavilion. You can do whatever you want. We have finished our mission and are about to return to the war god continent." After saying that, Han Chao looked at the moon goddess and the phoenix girl in surprise. These 2 women were too beautiful. One was as cold as the goddess of the moon palace, and the other was charming and enchanting. They had different temperaments, but each had her own merits. Shuiwei was very young, but she was very beautiful. She was a beauty in the making. Together with a goat and a 5 or 6-year-old boy, the combination of the 6 was very strange. However, Han Chao was only slightly surprised. He turned and left. There were many people on the deck, from the Grandmaster realm to the Noble realm. They all looked at Ling Xiao and the others with different expressions. The moon goddess and the phoenix maiden in particular caused quite a commotion in the crowd. Many young experts' eyes were burning with passion. Ling Xiao frowned slightly. He felt some malicious gazes. He said, "Let's go over there." He had just come to this adventurer ship and didn't know anything. Ling Xiao wanted to keep a low profile. Just then, a group of people walked over from the opposite side of Ling Xiao and the others. They were led by a man and a woman. The man held a folding fan and wore a brocade robe. He was very handsome, but his eyes looked flirtatious. The woman wore a red dress. She was very beautiful. Although she didn't look as beautiful as the moon goddess and the phoenix girl, she had her own charm. There was a kind of arrogance and coldness in her eyes. It was as if she didn't care about anything. The young man in the brocade robe was bored. However, when he saw the moon goddess and the phoenix girl, he couldn't look away. The woman in the red dress was shocked. Moon god and phoenix lady were not only beautiful, but their presence made the woman in the red dress feel like she was not as good as them. "Ladies, I am Feng Yuan, a member of the Feng family in Tianfeng City. May I know your names? Where do you live?" The young man in the brocade robe smiled. He thought that he was very handsome. His eyes were filled with passion. It was as if his soul had been taken away. Feng Yuan had to admit that he had seen countless women. However, the 2 in front of him were definitely the best of the best. They weren't any weaker than the saintesses and princesses of the legendary Holy Lands. They shocked him. "Get out of the way." The phoenix girl's eyes showed a trace of disgust. Although Feng Yuan was at the 6th level of the celestial realm, the phoenix girl could tell what he was thinking at a glance. Ling Xiao's face showed a strange expression. Although he knew that the moon goddess and the phoenix girl were very beautiful, he didn't expect to see a good show of a young ruffian flirting with an innocent woman as soon as he boarded the adventurer ship. Should he jump out to save the damsel in distress? Chapter 441. What are you laughing at? Feng Yuan's eyes darkened when he saw the smile on Ling Xiao's face. Ling Xiao rubbed his nose and said innocently, "Brother, these 2 are my wives. You're flirting with my wives. Do you think I don't exist?" The moon goddess and the phoenix girl froze. The phoenix girl glared at Ling Xiao, but she didn't refute. This Feng Yuan looked very annoying. Ling Xiao could teach him a lesson. "They're both your wives?" Ha 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 ha. Feng Yuan laughed out loud as if he had heard a joke. His eyes were full of mockery as he said, "Kid, why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? You're only at the master realm. You're like an ant. How dare you say that these 2 ladies are your wives? Get lost if you don't want to die. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. When the numerous martial artists on the adventurer ship saw Ling Xiao and Feng Yuan arguing, their eyes revealed expressions of schadenfreude. Although Feng Yuan's character wasn't good, the Feng family in Tianfeng City was a big family. Although they couldn't be compared to those hidden ancient families with sovereigns, they still had emperors. Ling Xiao wasn't angry. He smiled and said, "They are indeed my wives. If you don't believe me, you can ask them yourself." Long Outyin suddenly jumped out and hugged the Phoenix girl's arm. He stared innocently and said, "Mother, this bad guy is too shameless. He dares to bully father. Why don't I beat him up?" The Phoenix girl's body trembled. Her forehead was full of black lines, but she couldn't refute. She could only say indifferently, "Okay, I don't like this kid either. Be gentle. Don't kill him." Feng Yuan's face stiffened immediately. These two beauties were really this kid's wives. He actually had such a big child? Feng Yuan's heart was full of resentment and unwillingness. How could this kid have two beautiful wives? "Hey, green-haired monster, my mother asked me to beat you up. If you don't want to be beaten, kneel down and kowtow to my mother." Long Outyin stared and pointed at Feng Yuan. There was a green hairpin on Feng Yuan's head that tied up his hair. At this moment it was glowing green. He really looked like a green-haired monster. Everyone suddenly burst into laughter. "Little bastard, I'll kill you." Feng Yuan's face was extremely red, and his eyes were filled with anger. He was actually mocked by a 5 or 6-year-old child. He immediately threw a punch towards Long Outyin. Oh no, something is going to happen to this beautiful little doll. Feng Yuan is really shameless. He can even do such a cute little child. Everyone suddenly exclaimed, and a trace of sympathy appeared in their eyes. Feng Yuan and Long Outyin were very close to each other. When the fist landed, blazing innate true qi surged, containing a powerful force, smashing towards Long Outyin. No one thought that Feng Yuan would actually attack a child. However, Ling Xiao, Moon Goddess, Phoenix Lady, and the others didn't seem to want to stop him. Instead, their eyes were filled with mockery. To dare take action against a true dragon. Feng Yuan was really tired of living. Boom. A golden light flashed in Long Outyin's eyes, and he threw a punch with his chubby little hand. It was like a bolt of golden lightning that contained boundless power. Crack. A crisp sound of bones breaking could be heard. Accompanied by Feng Yuan's miserable scream, he was immediately sent flying. His arm was shattered into pieces, and his flesh was badly mutilated. It was extremely miserable. What? Everyone's body trembled, and a trace of disbelief appeared in their eyes. Such a 5 or 6-year-old little boy, who looked like he was carved out of jade, was very cute, and actually crippled Feng Yuan's arm with one punch. No matter how useless Feng Yuan was, he was still an expert in the celestial realm. It was impossible for him to be so weak. Where did this little boy come from? The woman in the red dress beside Feng Yuan also changed her expression, and the subordinates behind her quickly helped Feng Yuan up. One of Feng Yuan's arms was completely shattered, and he was screaming like a pig being slaughtered. His handsome face was extremely distorted, and his eyes were filled with fear and anger. "Kill him, kill all of them." Feng Yuan was completely crazy, and he shouted while pointing at Ling Xiao and Long Outyin. There was an old man in a gray robe behind Feng Yuan. His aura was unfathomable, and he was an expert in the noble realm. Even he didn't see how Long Outyin did it. At this moment, he recovered from the shock, and an extremely sharp light appeared in his eyes. "Uncle Feng, let me do it." The woman in the red dress stopped the old man in the gray robe who was about to make a move. She looked at Ling Xiao and the others with eyes full of surprise, and she wasn't angry because Feng Yuan was severely injured. "Friend, even if Feng Yuan was in the wrong first, you shouldn't have hit him so hard, right?" The woman in the red dress was called Lu Wanher. She looked at Ling Xiao coldly and said. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, "I believe you know very well who is right and who is wrong. He flirted with my wife, but he overestimated himself. He couldn't even beat my son, so who can he blame?" Ling Xiao was very satisfied. He held Long Outyin in one hand and the Phoenix girl in the other. This time he had gained a big advantage. Not only did he have 2 more wives, but he also had a son. The Phoenix girl's body stiffened. She gritted her teeth and wanted to beat Ling Xiao up. But at this moment, she could only endure it and squeeze out a smile on her face. Friend, how should I address you? I'm Lu Wan'er of the Lu family in Sky Star City. I would like to learn from you. Lu Wan'er's eyes were sharp as she stared at Ling Xiao and said. She could tell that Ling Xiao, the moon goddess, and the phoenix girl weren't husband and wife. However, the two of them didn't refute. Moreover, the strange little boy was willing to pretend to be Ling Xiao's son, so she couldn't expose him. She couldn't ignore Feng Yuan's injury. Hence, she stood out and wanted to fight with Ling Xiao. She's the Lu family's young lady? Legend has it that Lu Wan'er possesses the Sky Star bloodline. If one could cultivate with Lu Wan'er, he could break through a realm in an instant. Just give up on that idea. Lu Wan'er is already engaged to Feng Peilong of Sky Star City. The marriage between the two families isn't something that we can covet. Feng Peilong? Could it be the legendary Feng Peilong who was taken in as a disciple by the elder of the sanctuary of Star Palace? No wonder the Lu family wants to have a marriage with the Feng family. They want to have a big tree to back them up. Isn't that so? The Lu family has been on the decline for the past few years. There's only one emperor to take care of the family. If they don't look for strong reinforcements, they won't be able to protect Sky Star City. The crowd discussed animatedly and their eyes were filled with astonishment. Miss Lu Wan'er was only in her early 20s, but she was already at the 6th level of the Sky Human realm. She was extremely talented. If she were to cultivate with Feng Peilong, both of them would have a chance to break through to the noble realm. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.